this group will ever be together. It's the last time. Make it the most enjoyable 4 hours of our season. And let's show the country what it's like when you play Arizona. Woo! Because when you play Arizona, what they got to do, Coach? They got to do, Coach. Shoes up tighter. Put shoes up tighter. A little more tape on. A little more tape on. A little more in the hell. A little more in the hell. Shut the fuck up.
All right, we are ready to go in the Foster Farms Bowl. Down to the field, Bruce Feldman.
Joe, Purdue has some experience facing great dual-threat quarterbacks. They opened the season against Louisville's Heisman Trophy winner Lamar Jackson, who put up his usual gaudy numbers, but he actually didn't break a run longer than 15 yards all night. Boilermaker defensive coordinator Nick Holt told me you get some different problems when you face Khalil Tate, in that he's fast too, but he's a stronger runner, and Arizona does a lot more design runs for the quarterback. He goes, this is like playing against 12 guys, and he's such a fantastic player. We better be ready, or it's going to get real ugly. And that Louisville-Purdue game, that's the one Tate has studied the most. He told his coaches, they're going to try and play me the way they played Lamar. They're going to try to spy me, and I got to be aggressive, and I cannot be timid tonight.
And Bruce, that main course tonight of Arizona's offense against Purdue's defense comes up first. Purdue won the toss and deferred to the second half, so Spencer Evans sends it away, and off we go in the Foster Farms Bowl. It's a line drive kick taken by Tyrell Johnson. Johnson cut down shy of the 20 with a special teams tackle from Antonio Blackman. And Arizona's offense, which averages more than 300 rushing yards per game, more than 40 points per game, gets ready for its first series with Khalil Tate at quarterback.
It all surrounds Khalil Tate. I mean, he's really the engine that makes this offense go. You heard Bruce Feldman talk about it a minute ago as far as his preparation for this game, thinking that they're going to play him similar to Lamar Jackson, and then they will. But I think the difference is Khalil Tate's a much more physical runner when you see him get into the open field.
He starts with Nick Wilson behind him at running back. And they hand it off to the motion man, Shun Brown. Shun Brown with a pickup of 7 or 8. Bryce Wolma with a nice block out in front.
Wolma, one of the tight ends that Arizona's using. And it's one of the differences in previous years, Joe. You didn't see them throw to their tight ends as much. Almost 28 receptions so far on the season. That's kind of rare, at least in the last few years for Arizona.
Back-to-back run plays. Wilson hit at the line of scrimmage and toppled by Marcus Bailey, and an early third down for the Wildcats.
Marcus Bailey, along with the rest of the linebacker group for Purdue, have been phenomenal this year. Ask Marcus Bailey to do a bunch of different things. He'll be split out, covering a slot wide receiver at times, sometimes rushing, but he's been the best rushing off the edge. Leads the team in sacks.
This is your typical Arizona team in that they move fast. Right back on the ball for a 3rd and 2. First run for Khalil Tate, and it goes nowhere. After a big first down gain, it turns into a 3 and out. Jacob Thieneman, the junior safety, comes up with a tackle.
Thieneman, number 41. He's in charge of getting the entire defense lined up, and he sniffed us out right away, but really it's all the bodies around the line of scrimmage for Purdue. If you look at the last 4 games for Arizona, they went 1-3 in those games. Not as much production from the offense. That's been in part because everyone's been so aggressive at stacking the box, stopping the run, and forcing Khalil Tate to try to beat him with his arm.
3 run plays on that first series. The punt team comes out. It has been a revolving door for Purdue as far as the punter goes this year. And then Jake Ladding handles this one with a fair catch taken by Jackson Anthrop at the 40-yard line. So Purdue offense under Jeff Brom, known for a lot of points, but also known for a lot of gadgets under Coach Brom.
All sorts of trick plays, and you see the double reverse tossback throwback where Blau ends up finding what was Cole Herdman early this year versus Ohio University. They like to run the flea flickers. They even run sometimes a fake flea flicker off of it, and they typically do it in the first quarter or the first half of games to try to keep defenses on their toes. I wouldn't be shocked if they didn't run something early here in tonight's game.
Elijah Sindelar, their sophomore quarterback, has had a great finish to the season. He's got a strong arm, but he's off the mark with his first toss tonight, intended for Gregory Phillips. His 8th start of the year, split time with David Blau over the first 2 months before Blau's season-ending injury in early November, but The numbers, especially since Blau went down and he's not looking over his shoulder anymore, really good. There's 7 touchdowns and 1 pick. Back-to-back low throws out of the gate tonight, 2nd or 3rd and 10.
You always have that gap in between when you play your last game, which was for Purdue versus Indiana, and then that bowl game. And even though you practice a bunch and Purdue only utilized 12 of the 15 practices they're allotted, it still takes you a little bit to get back into the flow of playing in games and dealing with that adrenaline rush.
And Purdue's defense forced a 3 and out. Arizona's D trying to do the same. Bright future for this Arizona defense. 5 freshman starters on it. They drop 8 into coverage on 3rd and 10, and Sindelar finds Gregory Phillips for a Purdue first down. Pushed out of bounds inside Arizona territory on a gain of 17.
It's all about the eyes and the vision. As Sindelar goes back, he waits for Phillips to get into the window and delivers downfield. This has been the biggest difference in this offense since Sindelar's taken over. They stretch the field more, the downfield passing game.
They look to throw it again. It's Phillips again. Breaks a tackle at Jace Whitaker and fights his way for another first down. The 5th-year senior out of Atlanta, Georgia, playing his final game at Purdue. One of the captains of the offense with back-to-back catches.
And another throw on first down. They started this series doing that. They did it right there. That's been a difference too, is throwing the football more on first down, helping Sindelar get into a rhythm earlier in games.
Markel Jones, first run. He gets a yard. 2nd and 9.
Sometimes you get a little bit easier coverage to utilize those one-on-one matchups on the outside. And it's been one of the differences. We talked with head coach Jeff Brom about getting Sindelar into a flow early in games and just finding some of those easy completions and then building to take shots downfield to a guy like Anthony Mahungu, who's really come on the last 3 weeks since Sindelar's taken over.
21 in black at the top of your screen. Defended right now by Jace Whitaker. Looking in his direction, and instead of going over the top, they throw the speed out. He makes a miss. He takes it to the end zone for the Purdue touchdown. The Boilermakers waste no time jumping in front here in the Foster Farms Bowl.
And this is all about timing and rhythm. Sindelar plants his back foot, the ball is out to the outside, and Mahungu makes a miss in the open field. That's in part because this Arizona secondary plays so soft on the outside. It allows that cushion, and you look at a wide receiver like Anthony Mahungu, who's 6'3", 210 pounds. He's physical enough to beat a defender and get in the end zone.
Mahungu has really come on over the last month and a half of this season or so. There was a time where it looked like he was going to lose his job. Started losing reps. He took off with a new opportunity because of injury in October and then into November. And he's got a touchdown on Purdue's first drive of this one from Sindelar, who settled in after a couple of misfires to start the game. To stay perfect this year when scoring on its opening drive. Cedric Peterson back with Tyrell Johnson. Short kick. It's Peterson. Peterson with a nice run back across the 30. It's Arizona back on offense. They were picked to finish dead last in the Pac-12 and got off to a 2-2 start with the losses against Houston and against Utah, but then won 4 straight with Khalil Tate taking over in early October, winning 4 consecutive Pac-12 Player of the Week awards. Struggled though in November, 1-3 to finish 7-5, so had a good feeling to finish what has overall been a good year.
They beat expectations, but again, you go back to their opening drive. You know, defense have been much more aggressive. They're going to have to open things up in the passing game if they want to have success tonight.
They will throw it for the first time, and it's pulled in by Sean Poindexter. Had a big game against Arizona State in the regular season finale. A lot of raw talent for this guy at 6'5". He's getting better every week. They thought this might be his final game, but he was granted another year of eligibility. First carry for J.J. Taylor, diminutive freshman running back, has a run across the 40, 3rd and short.
Part of that tandem in the backfield for Arizona that doesn't get enough credit for the job they do in the running game. It's J.J. Taylor, it's Nick Wilson, the senior. Both those guys do a great job of carrying the load. They've been extremely productive. Don't be surprised if this isn't a quarterback design run for Khalil Tate.
Against a loaded box, as you mentioned, they've seen pretty much all year. They roll Tate out, keeps his eyes downfield. He's hemmed in, and he runs out of bounds with nowhere to go. Jawan Bentley and T.J. McCollum were both waiting for him on the edge, 4th down.
And there was just no one open. They sprinted Khalil Tate out to the right. They tried to run what basically ended up being a smash concept. You've got someone in the flat and someone running to the corner, a little high-low concept, but Purdue stiffed it out. They saw it the entire way, and surprisingly, Khalil Tate didn't tuck that down and try to run, and instead backed up and just ran out of bounds.
So 2 3-and-outs, and Arizona's first 2 drives. Ladding to punt it. And a good one. Sends Jackson Anthrop back. That's down to the 15-yard line. Both bands were there. You were there, emceeing it.
Had a great time. Great turnout. Arizona band had a little bit of difficulties getting there.
Band starts playing during the play here, and they hand it off for the first time to DJ Knox. Lassoed down after a gain of 7. It's a guy that had surgery on his thumb following the regular season finale. They weren't sure how ready he'd be, at least when he went under the knife, but he's good to go. And it's a good thing for Purdue. They are very thin at running back because of injuries all season. Tony Fields makes the tackle here to set up 3rd and short.
One of the true freshmen for this Arizona defense. Has been wise beyond his years, runs incredibly well. Whether it's number 1 Fields, number 7 Schooler, or Wilborn, all those guys are special.
They pick up a first down here with Knox exploding through that hole.
One of the biggest discrepancies in this battle up front is the size of the Purdue offensive line versus a much smaller Arizona defensive front. So they're trying to put as many bodies as they can around the line of scrimmage, but you can't miss tackles when you're filling gaps and you have the opportunity to bring the running back down.
Here comes one of those trick plays, and it's wide open downfield, but he stumbled. Cole Herdman stumbled coming out of his break against Flanagan Fowles. He could have had him. He could have had Gregory Phillips running free on a post.
Yeah, they ran that play earlier this year versus Ohio University, and you're going to see Herdman's going to release up the sideline, but he kind of stumbles, and Phillips really was just clearing it out for Herdman. It almost looked like he might have hurt his hamstring.
Yeah.
A little chilly here tonight.
Although for these Big Ten kids, this is balmy. It's tanning weather. 2nd and 10. Sindelar swings it out. Knox dancing in space. Arizona rallies and shuts it down with Schooler and Fields both there. Yeah, you're right, though. It looked like Herdman pulled up on that hamstring.
Herdman's a big part of this offense. You look at number 88, Cole Herdman, number 89, Bryson Hopkins at tight end for Purdue. Both those young men are a big piece of their passing game.
3rd down and 8.
This is the big thing. Is Purdue's going to make an adjustment. They're going to come out with an initial formation, and then Arizona has to adjust to whatever they end up shifting to after they get the second part of the play call.
Bringing a corner blitz, and it gets home and drills Sindelar. That's Lorenzo Burns, one of those 5 freshmen shot out of a cannon to make it 4th down.
We talked about it. Defensive coordinator Marcel Yates for Arizona is going to have to adjust on the fly. And in this case, they bring a corner cat or a corner blitz, and you've got Sindelar looking to the right the entire time. It's one of those things you've got to be able to identify the safety rotations. Those guys are going to move at the snap of the football, and they're going to tell you if someone's potentially blitzing.
And DJ Knox completely fanned. Burns coming on that blitz. High punt here off of the foot of Joe Schopper, and a fair catch for Shun Brown. Arizona trying to get its offense going. More than 40 points per game. That's top 10 in the country, but back-to-back 3-and-outs so far tonight. Back in Santa Clara, where Purdue has a 7-0 lead, and it's defense. Most improved defense in the country, holding teams under 20 points per game this year after they gave up close to 40 per game last year. Has forced back-to-back 3-and-outs to open the night. Arizona giving it another try. Khalil Tate off play action is flushed out of the pocket by Antoine Miles. Throws across his body and finds Sean Brown for a first down in Purdue territory. You hear all about him as a runner. He is underrated as a thrower.
And this is where Khalil Tate is special. Watch him as he releases down. He's going to eventually keep his eyes downfield. He's going to find Brown coming all the way across the field. And that's really who he looks for once the play breaks down. It's Sean Brown, who seems to always find his way to Tate.
Fakes one way, goes the other. Tate trying to get outside. He's able to, getting close to a first down. Thieneman angles him out. They spot him a yard short, 2nd and 1.
It's one of those design quarterback runs for Khalil Tate. There's some misdirection with it, but really it's set up for him to be more decisive. You talked to head coach Rich Rodriguez, who said that's when he's at his best, when he's got the design run where we take out some of the reads and some of those elements, and we just let him use his athletic ability.
Wilson cuts it against the grain, running with a purpose for a first down to the 30. And Nick Wilson with a first down gain of 10. Rich Rodriguez will like. 5th bowl trip in 6 seasons as the head man. There's an injured player on this play.
Looked like safety Jacob Thieneman. As Nick Wilson lowered his shoulder, there was quite the collision. Whew. This is a huge loss for the junior out of Noblesville, Indiana. He's the guy who they entrust to help get the defense lined up. This is a veteran secondary for Purdue. He's a big part of it.
Not the most gifted guy, but really tough, and the one that gets him lined up. A steadying presence on the back end. But he just got all of Nick Wilson coming at him. Oh.
And that's the tough duty you're tasked with as a safety. You're the last line of defense. And you're the guy who's got to be able to try to make those stops and the open field versus a running back like Nick Wilson, who's 5'10", 210 pounds, but when he's moving, he's bringing a lot more force than that.
325 rushing yards per game for Arizona. That's number 3 in the country, behind only Army and Navy. On 1st and 10 from the 31. Tate fakes it, rolls and throws to a wide open Poindexter for the Arizona touchdown. Blown coverage from Purdue, and Arizona's offense wakes up to the tune of a 31-yard touchdown.
We talked about this in the document. This is what happens when you run the football effectively. Watch the eyes of the secondary. Everyone's kind of looking to see if it's going to be Khalil Tate to the outside, and instead it ends up being Poindexter running free with no one in coverage. And also when you look at who that safety is, that's TJ Jallo. He came in for the injured Jacob Thieneman, so you got to wonder if Thieneman's in there, is that play effective?
Yeah, we just talked about what he brings is that he's kind of the guy that steadies things on the back end. One play after he goes out, Arizona goes in. Poindexter really coming on for these Wildcats. We're tied at 7.
No, I've been dying to go. Hopefully I'll get a chance one of these times to come out to the Bay Area.
Couple 31-yard touchdown passes in this game. First one came from Purdue, the next one from Arizona. We're tied at 7. And the Boilermakers will have it at the 25. Down to Bruce Feldman.
Guys, a couple of injury updates from Purdue. Cole Herdman, their fine tight end, who came up gimpy. It's left hamstring. He kept on trying to loosen up. He said, I'm okay. Grabbed his helmet. He wants to go back in. I would expect to see him. Jacob Thieneman, the quarterback of the secondary, their safety, who got banged up on the last series, he told one of his teammates, it's just a stinger. I'm fine. I'll be okay.
All right, but it already perhaps cost them with a blown coverage the following play, leading to Arizona's touchdown. Purdue back on offense. The Princeton, Kentucky native, Elijah Sindelar. He fakes to Markel Jones. Against a rusher, dumps it off. Colin Schooler closes and makes the tackle. The Pac-12 Defensive Freshman of the Year, Schooler. True freshman out of Dana Point, California. And there is Jeff Braum. In his first season after the 3 years where he won 30 games at Western Kentucky. Gregory Phillips gets blasted by Jace Whitaker. Arizona's defense starting to fly around, and it's 3rd and long.
Making better open field tackles. If you go back to Purdue's touchdown drive, really it was the missed tackles on the outside. Now they're wrapping up, they're rallying to the football and making plays.
Showing pressure on 3rd and long here. And there's Purdue doing what they often do, check to the sideline after the defense shows its hand. They're bringing 5. Sindelar steps up and finds a window close to the marker to Bryson Hopkins. We'll see where they spot him as Fields and Young quickly closed on him. Looks like they're spotting him a little bit short.
It's good to see Bryson Hopkins back out there. He was dealing with a back injury for a few weeks. Looks like he's going to be short, and they're going for it.
Without hesitation. And they're not going to get it. Markel Jones lost a couple of yards. That defensive front coming up big. DeAndre Miller, the 5th-year senior, with a tackle, and Arizona takes over.
Sometimes you rush up to the line of scrimmage to try to get lined up, and the defense doesn't really get lined up so you can identify who has who. And in that case, the guy who just caught the pass to put them within 4th and inches ends up allowing DeAndre Miller to get inside and make the play.
The coordinator Marcel Yates loves it.
He's fired up, but he dialed up a number of pressures on that last series too to help turn up the heat.
Gotta love that offense. Play for DeAndre Miller there. Been a frustrating year for the senior. Lost his job. A big 4th down stop. Here comes Tyrell Johnson, breaking a couple of tackles and getting 7. Jacob Thienemann's back in the game and has the tackle.
Well, and to that point, you know, the Arizona defense has struggled this year, but they're young. And I think the difference has been the turnovers they've generated, particularly interceptions, but being able to force a stop on 4th down is just as good as getting a turnover.
2nd and short. J.J. Taylor swallowed up. Lost at least 1. 3rd down for Arizona in a 7-7 game in the closing minutes of the first.
This is where Khalil Tate is still very much a part of the run game. This may be 4th down territory for Arizona as well. But here's the thing, look at the box. Look how many bodies are around the line of scrimmage. You got one-on-one coverage with no safety help.
See if they take a shot. They will. Down the seam. It is another touchdown for Arizona. This time Tony Ellison taking advantage in one-on-one, beating Navon Mosley to give the Cats their first lead of the night.
We just talked about it. One-on-one coverage with no help. He gets a good release. See how he sticks him to the inside and goes to the outside of Mosley, and then it's just a tremendous ball by Tate with enough trajectory to the outside where Mosley can't make a play on the football. It's the 4th touchdown catch for Ellison this season. That's huge, and that's the way you capitalize off of getting a 4th down stop like Arizona's defense did.
Khalil Tate can really run. He has a cannon. You're seeing the short range throws, how hard he can throw it. Rich Rod said the thing that sets him apart is that unlike a lot of guys that have cannons, he knows how to put that touch on it when he needs to. He does here. It gives Arizona the lead, 14-7, back in 30 seconds.
There's a reason you're here.
Coverage, if they're playing zone, they try to attack those safeties because Arizona feels like that's where the mismatch is, and they can't cover a lot of their speedier wide receivers.
Another touchback for Haversick. And here comes Purdue's offense again, which is efficient, moving the ball down the field its first time around, but not a whole lot since.
Well, they got to get to running the football. I mean, they've got the size advantage up front. They're much more physical. You go back to their last game versus Indiana, Markel Jones kind of took over, had 217 yards on 31 carries, a career day for him. Try to get back and taking some of the pressure off of Elijah Sindelar.
As a team, they ran for 272 in that game. It's a little backwards from what Jeff Brown prefers his offense to be, but if it's there, they'll take it. Cole Herdman back in the game with that sore hamstring, able to pull this one in and then cut down by Flanagan Fowles. Slow getting up.
He's right here, and he's going to release through, and watch the eyes of the linebackers. See how they get sucked up on the play action fake, and they're in behind. It's Herdman for the big catch. It's always the toughest part, though. Those throws across the middle. You got the safeties just kind of sitting there flat-footed. A lot of times they're coming up to make those tackles, and they go low because, look, you can't go high. You get called for targeting. So then you go low, and all of a sudden it ends up hurting a player where you're taking out his knees. Kind of can't win.
29th consecutive game with a catch for Cole Herdman. First down at 10 from the 40. Sindelar to the sideline. That's pulled in. And a gain of 5 by Gregory Phillips. Second down.
Getting a little chippy out there. DJ Knox and Tony Fields were kind of battling. Excuse me. It's Markel Jones, but that's what happens. A lot of times you spend a bowl week in the same area for a number of days. Kind of cross paths, see each other. Sometimes a little bit of talking going on back and forth.
Faking the toss and throwing to Jackson Anthrop, who slipped one man and got a couple of yards. Third down.
And here's kind of a little back and forth. That's what happens, though. You go to a bunch of events together, you're hanging out, maybe there's some free time where you cross paths, and don't get it twisted. There's some trash talking going on.
Start getting some West Side Story stuff going.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. And Lombard Street, lead at the top.
Jackson Anthrop's been quiet so far today. He's a guy they like to target a lot on third down.
Instead they run it, and Jones shifts his way for a first down. Markel Jones finding the hole and squirting through it for a gain of 11. Talked about that game against Indiana that Jones had. 217 yards. That almost doubled his total from the first 11 games of the year. So he dealt with a knee injury early and then needed both Tario Fuller and Richie Worship to run into some injury problems to get back into the rotation. Takes the fake on 1st and 10, and Sindelar scans the field, unloads downfield. What a catch! And a touchdown for Gregory Phillips.
And this is all Phillips working to the middle of the field. It's at Anthrop on the inside to take away the safety, and it allows the one-on-one, and really it's going to be a question of whether or not he ended up getting in. It looks like it's clearly a catch, and as he is being pulled towards the end zone, I think he crosses the plane. I think that's going to be a touch, and that should stand. What a response, though, by this Purdue offense.
We have Mike Pereira in the building with us tonight, our rules expert. Mike, happy holidays, man. What do you see on this one?
Well, what I see is what's different in it's different than in college than it is certainly in the NFL. David Ames, who's just a wonderful guy who is the replay official today, we talked before the game. If in the process of going to the ground that you perform a second act, so that you stretch out and actually break the plane. If the ball comes loose after that, it's still a catch. And in this place, in this situation, I think this stays as a touchdown.
Mike, my question to you is, because everyone's trying to kind of figure out the process and really the timing of it, because it looks like he catches the football and he takes a number of steps before he really starts to be pulled to the ground by the defender. And in that case, is he really going to the ground when he makes the catch? Because it looks like to me he has possession of it technically before he's going to the ground.
Yeah, and that's where you get caught up with the real difficult decision.
Yeah.
Is he actually going to the ground or not? You could make a case either way, which I think you would have it stand based on that alone. But if you really do, and this is the big controversy that they had last week in the NFL with Pittsburgh and Jesse James, the rule is different.
Yeah.
So even if David Ames says that he's going to the ground, the fact that he actually extends the ball out and the ball appears to break the plane or really close. If you take a look at the left elbow hitting the ground? Is it just barely short? But I think really one thing is clear, it's a catch.
After review, the ruling on the field stands as called. Touchdown.
And as we always talk about, Mike, it would have to be indisputable to overturn that, at least of it being a touchdown. But clearly, as you noted, it's definitely going to be a catch.
And the language that they use is beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
And clearly, when you look at things, and that's where the NFL has got lost, they've lost that standard. The ruling on the field is right unless it can be proved wrong beyond a shadow of a doubt. Good job by David Ames with staying with this call.
And the officials on the field to get it right in the first place.
Absolutely. A great call by Joel Wetzel, the back judge.
This Big 12 crew. J.D. Dellinger adds the extra point. We've got a good one going in the Foster Farms Bowl. 8 consecutive completions from Elijah Sindelar. This one to Gregory Phillips. Back in 30 seconds. Here for the Spartans.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this matchup. I mean, you've got, again, 2 defenses, too, that are pretty stingy when you look at Michigan State going up against Washington State with Hercules Mataafa. It's always tough getting into the backfield. It's going to be a fun matchup to watch.
Tyrell Johnson takes it in. So Arizona will have it from the 25-yard line. Khalil Tate and the Arizona offense have gotten it going after a couple of 3-and-outs. There's a flag down on that kickoff, by the way. And here's Brad Van Vark to let us know why.
Talked to Brad before the game. He talked about what a reward it is for his crew to be able to get to come to a bowl game and call that. It's not just for the players and coaches and the teams. It's also cool for the officials.
We have 2 fouls on the play, 1 on each team. Unsportsmanlike, number 5 of Arizona. Also unsportsmanlike, number 23 of Purdue. Those penalties offset. It'll be first down, Arizona.
As if it never happened. From the 25-yard line, here comes
and 23 of Arizona. Those are both players' first unsportsmanlike fouls of the game.
So here comes Khalil Tate and Arizona. Take a look.
Looks like it's right there. Jallo, and clearly takes a shot with his left hand. And let's see. Yeah, it looks like it might be more than unsportsmanlike, but.
Sophomore from Inglewood, Khalil Tate, ready to work from the 25-yard line. On the season, he's averaged 10 yards per carry. Hands it off here, and they get a gain of 2 or 3 with Nick Wilson. Backup coming out of fall camp. He had some opportunities in September, but battled an injury of his own to his throwing shoulder, so he continued to come off of the bench. If there was maybe a crack in there for him to become the guy, his health kept him from that being the case. He took over for good in early October when Dawkins went down against Colorado and hasn't looked back. He's going back here with a pressure from McCollum and finds an open man downfield. Sean Brown stays on his feet and crosses the 35. A couple of times already we've seen Tate roll and extend the play and find Brown.
And I can't tell you how many times we've seen Khalil Tate over the course of this season. Once he gets outside the pocket, he's looking for number 6. And Sean Brown has an uncanny ability of finding a way to his quarterback to make catches when he's scrambling.
Brown comes in motion here. They come downhill with J.J. Taylor. And Taylor charges forward for 8. We talked about Tate taking over in October. How about what he did right after taking over? Set an FBS quarterback record in that first game with 327 rushing yards and started a string where he won 4 consecutive Pac-12 Player of the Week honors.
He was a legitimate Heisman candidate at that point. I mean, he really bursted onto the scene, and he talked about how it was tough dealing with all the attention. All of a sudden, everyone was telling him how good he was, how good-looking he was, telling him how good he smells. And he said, I wasn't even wearing cologne, but people would be telling him that in class.
Sense natural. 3rd and short. They bring Zach Green into the game at running back, a 230-pound bruiser.
It's like the wing tee from shotgun.
Green's got it, and a first down. It's what he does. He's carried it 65 times this year, scored 11 times because so many of those touches come down around the goal line. Another fifth-year senior from Miami.
Saw him in the elevator. We're staying at the same hotel as Arizona. He's the type of guy that you could imagine he can churn out a lot of those tough yards. Talked about his weight. I mean, he is very stout, very powerful, strong runner. Keeps his shoulder pads parallel to the line of scrimmage and keeps driving through initial contact.
Closing seconds of an entertaining first quarter. Taylor, nothing. 14-14 after 15 in the Foster Farms Bowl. We're back to Santa Clara in just a moment.
on Fox.
Welcome back to the 2017 Foster Farms Bowl on Fox. Entertaining first 15 minutes, locked at 14. What'd you think?
It's been fun. You know, coming into this game, you got two of the best offensive minds in college football, and Rich Rodriguez and Jeff Brahman. Extended period of time to prepare, so kind of expected that there were going to be some fireworks early.
And after Khalil Tate and Arizona's offense struggled on the first couple of drives, they've picked things up. He's perfect through the air so far. He takes off here and gets lassoed down by Jawan Bentley. Leading tackler, senior linebacker with a stop here.
Bentley back after missing a couple games, maybe not quite 100%, but he sure looks close to it right there. Talk about on the open, the difference in this defense. It's partially been the linebacking core too. Bentley, Bailey, McCollum, all those guys have been phenomenal this year.
That sets up a 3rd and 6. They bring 4. It's picked up, so Tate with time. Yeah, now we'll float it out of bounds. His first incompletion will bring the punt team onto the field. Go back to that second down play on Bentley's tackle. Was there any face mask here missed? Looks like
Clearly looks like he's grabbing and pulling him down to the ground. Biggest question would be, and that's probably for Mike Pereira, why didn't that warrant a flag, Mike?
Well, I think it did. Sometimes when you see that, especially when it's in the middle of the field, you don't get a look, you don't get an angle, but we saw it on the live shot. That is enough to call a face mask foul.
Planning to punt it. And Anthrop with the fair catch. Hope you're enjoying your holiday season. Still sitting around with family. Glad you're spending tonight with us. Taking a break. Back in a moment.
Completely different Missouri team, though, at the end of the year. I believe they won their last 4 games in the SEC, and Drew Lock, their quarterback, he was on fire.
Markel Jones lit a bit of misdirection, and then he pays the price after a yard. That was one of the days where people around the Purdue football program said, whoa, maybe we're back already under Jeff Brom in his first season. They came down to earth some. They're 3-5 at the end of October with back-to-back losses to Rutgers and Nebraska. With a strong finish to become bowl eligible. Gregory Phillips adding to his total. He already has a season high. There's the long touchdown. He's got 6 here, and it's 3rd and short.
This is where Purdue's really excelled this season. These 3rd and short scenarios, they were actually #1 in the Big Ten in 3rd and short. Typically, they utilize their running backs. Now, they've been a little bit banged up, but with Markel Jones, the big offensive line, that advantage versus the Arizona defensive line, you'd think that running the football here would be the wise play.
And Sindelar will look to throw. Steps up in the pocket. Coverage downfield is solid. Turns his shoulders and delivers an incompletion, 4th down. Collins Schooler was chasing him, and then the coverage from Demetrius Flanagan fouls, jarred it out of Bryson Hopkins' hands.
It was one-on-one on the outside, and there's a lot of grabbing and pulling and tugging going on, but at the end of the day, no one was able to get open, no flags were thrown, and end up making a catch. And it's the surprising part. I mean, this Purdue offense has been very good at running the football on 3rd and short. Backed up, kind of giving away some field position there.
Snapped a string of 10 consecutive Sindelar completions. Chopper to punt. Arizona bringing it and almost getting there. They do get there with some contact and a flag flies. Sean Brown across midfield. That was J.J. Taylor who got all to the punter, Joe Chopper. And here comes the call from Brad Van Vaart.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker, number 21 of the receiving team. That'll be 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic first down.
Key being that he gets the plant leg of Chopper, making it a personal foul, as opposed to the kicking leg, which would have made it running into the kicker, although in this situation still would have been a first down.
Yeah, and the key is watch how he leaves his feet. Once he goes up in the air, it's going to be a lot harder for him to try to adjust when he comes back down and not make contact with the punter. One of the mistakes you make when you're a young player. J.J. Taylor, obviously a freshman, still kind of learning the traits of special teams. Been phenomenal as a running back, but clearly a mistake you just cannot afford to make.
First penalty of the game is a big one. Extends the Purdue drive. First down from the 32. Markel Jones on first down for 2.
Boy, Colin Schooler got there in a hurry.
Good player, huh?
Oh, he's a tremendous player. Already receiving so much attention. People are comparing to Scooby Wright, who was an All-American. He said, I don't necessarily deserve that praise yet, but eventually I'll take that claim.
Ohogu quickly tackled by Jace Whitaker. We have 60 newcomers on this Arizona roster. 22 freshmen on the 2D. And in this defense alone, we talked about it earlier, but 5 freshman starters who have pretty much been in there all season.
And then you've got a mix of fifth-year seniors. It's quite the mix of youth and then experience. Fifth-year guys like Luca Bruno, Parker Zellers, and Crookshank, guys who've been around the program for a while.
Markel Jones has a first down. They run it on 3rd down and 4 and pick it up with a gain of 6. Jones again as a hold and crosses midfield. Tony Field stops him, 2nd and 4.
This offensive line starting to take over now for Purdue as they pick up their tempo running the football. It's all really led by their center, Kirk Barron. He's the guy who sets everything up, IDs the middle linebacker in the blocking scheme for the O-line, helps get that initial push.
Jones again gets a couple more, 3rd and short. Barron, the team captain out of Mishawaka, Indiana. This offensive line has been solid this year.
Well, the key is that left tackle. They had Grant Hermans, but he went down with an injury earlier this season. Eric Swingler stepped in and done an admirable job at left tackle. But it took away an additional package where they brought in an additional tackle to play an eligible tight end. That used to be Eric Swingler, and because of the lack of depth on the offensive line, they've kind of done away with that. Typically they use it in short yardage scenarios like this.
If they ride that line on 3rd and 1, they look to Jones, got hit at the line of scrimmage and didn't get it. Somebody came flying through there. Tony Fields to get credit for the stop. And 4th down and 1.
This is the issue when you don't follow your blockers. In that case, they pulled Matt McCann, their right guard. Markel Jones decided to make a backside cut where he saw daylight, but there's going to be someone there who's not accounted for. I think if he would have been more patient, pressed the front side, there was a better chance that he was going to be able to make the first down.
Boilermakers went for it on 4th down and 1 earlier, didn't get it. 4th down and 1 in Arizona territory, trying it again. Markel Jones again with a much different result. First down Purdue inside the 25. Over a gaping hole on the right side for 24.
They utilize all sorts of different schemes. It's a pin and pull. Watch as they block down. You see Matt McCann help open up the hole on the right side, and there is no one there in the back end. Very lucky Looked like it was Dane Cruikshank that was able to get back and make the tackle. Otherwise, Jones in the end zone.
Jones on the sideline getting a rest. DJ Knox comes on. Sindelar rolls right. Throws left. Wants Hopkins. Incomplete. Cruikshank broke it up. 2nd and 10.
Oh, so close. Obviously trying to set up a throwback to their tight end. Credit Dane Cruikshank, 5th-year senior, who's playing that spur position for Arizona. He's moved around a little bit, got invited to the East-West Shrine game, where he's going to have an opportunity to showcase his skills to NFL scouts.
Sindelar has it knocked down to the line of scrimmage, 3rd and 10.
And it looked like that was number 8, Trevor Wood, who kind of moonlights as tight end, defensive end. You talked to defensive coordinator Marcel Yates. He said, I'd like to steal him for my defense.
For good.
Well, he's 6'6", 260 pounds. And you can see he's got the athleticism. He understands exactly what to do if he doesn't get to the quarterback. Put those big long arms up, bat the football down. But Marcel Yates thinks he could really be a difference maker for this defense if he had a full year of offseason 2 to help prepare him.
Yeah, and he thinks week 1 next year there's a good chance that Trevor Wood will be the starting DN. Sindelar lets it fly. He's got another touchdown to Gregory Phillips. What a day the 5th-year senior's having. No touchdowns in the regular season. 2 in the first half of the Foster Farms Bowl.
This is just a well-designed play. Once he stops here, watch how the defense, everyone's going to be attracted to Pittman, number 81. It helps open up the hole in the back end for Phillips. And he makes the catch. It's a well-thrown football that allows Phillips to make the catch and run and get past the Arizona secondary. And this is really where they've struggled, Joe. I mean, they've given up a lot of yards, a lot of points. Have been good getting turnovers and interceptions, lead the Pac-12, but just had a hard time getting stops.
Purdue has jumped back in front. Now that extra point is hooked wide. There's a flag down. A lot going on an extra point here.
Well, I think this all goes back to J.J. Taylor and the roughing the punter.
Offside. Defense, number 9.
Shot at this.
Half the distance to the goal. Will replay the try.
And it's Cruikshank in that case. But it goes back to the roughing the punter by J.J. Taylor, allowing the Purdue drive to stay alive, giving them new life. Then Purdue capitalizing on some plays, but even in this instance right now, Arizona just hurting themselves.
In the stages of Rich Rod's anger, he's starting to boil. Those 2 key penalties, really 1 key penalty, and another leading to another opportunity here for Spencer Evans. Takes advantage. You mentioned J.J. Taylor's roughing the punter. They gave Purdue added life. And they went for it on 4th and 1. Markel Jones hit the hole hard, and moments later, Elijah Sindelar with his 3rd touchdown pass of the first half. Heck of a Foster Farms Bowl going on Fox.
You know, you create those memories, you know, hanging out with your brothers, hanging out with the guys on your team that you've, you know, grown up through college and that whole life experience with. So it's always a neat time.
For these guys, these 2 teams get to come do it in a great city like San Francisco, and then down here to Santa Clara for the ball game. Spencer Evans will kick it. Fun bowl week, and so far a fun bowl game. Tyrell Johnson from the 10. He's one of those guys playing in his final game. The senior out across the 35 with a flag in late. Boy, those 2 coming together again. Gary Brightwell of Arizona and TJ Jallo for Purdue. They've already had offsetting personal foul penalties. And this is unrelated, but you saw them separating at the end of that play.
There is no foul on the field for a face mask. First down, Arizona.
So Arizona will have it at the 38, trying to come from behind now with what Elijah Sindelar has been able to do. 14 of 20, 165, and 3 touchdowns.
After a couple poor passes to begin the game, he's really found his rhythm. That's what happens when you have all this additional time to prepare. You feel confident, you feel the ball more decisive. You're taking advantage of those mismatches.
Khalil Tate dancing around. Turn in the shoulders and run out of bounds by Ray Ellis. Second down.
That was interesting action in the backfield. They faked the pitch, Nick Wilson. Watch him jump up, though, and act like it's a high pitch, or it's kind of hard to tell there. You can see at the very end, but really nowhere to go with the football for Khalil Tate. And that's kind of been the case on a few of their drives when they've tried to create something for him and move him, get him outside the pocket.
Second down, 16. He fakes the option toss. Nowhere to go to the short side of the field. Anizi Chukwu, fifth-year senior DN, ushered him out. Third down.
You go back and look at the last 4 games of the season for Arizona. You know, teams are extremely stout on the inside, and they're forcing Khalil Tate to try to find holes to the sideline, but then they're rallying to the football. They're setting an edge, and they're not allowing him to utilize his speed to get to the outside and then turn it up. That's exactly what we're seeing Purdue do right now.
Negative first down play put them in a spot where they're uncomfortable. Third down, 17 now, on the verge of a 3 and out right after Purdue retook the lead. Tate steps up, finds a window for a first down. Tony Ellison on 3rd and 17 gets 27.
It's Navon Mosley that they're going to be picking on. They already threw a touchdown on him earlier in tonight's game, and then this time it's just Khalil Tate stepping up, finding time, and Mosley just loses Ellison in coverage.
Nick Wilson on first down.
It's the tough part, though, for anyone who faces this Arizona offense is once things break down, Khalil Tate can hurt you in a number of ways. Obviously running the football, but he can buy time and he can find ways of fitting throws into windows.
I think a lot of D coordinators will tell you they'd much rather face a stationary guy, even if he has a chance to pick you apart. It's so hard when guys like Tate extend the play the way he does.
These are the matchups they're looking at. That's a safety working on the slot wide receiver right here, and that's why they're trying to take advantage of a lesser coverage player versus a speedy or good slot wide receiver.
I thought you just really liked Khalil Tate's face mask and visor.
Ball start. Offense, number 67. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Gerard DeBeer. Let's go down to Bruce.
Guys, for as spectacular as Khalil Tate has been, Arizona coaches are really excited about how good they think he's going to get. Now, this kid is an excellent student, a 3.2 GPA, but they still kind of worry about how he prepares. And earlier this week, Rich Rod told us he had a call from Pat White, one of his great quarterbacks. He invited him to Tucson. He said Pat was a great practice player, and he can be a big help for Khalil in learning how to really approach this game.
All right, Bruce. Tate has it here. Sticks his nose down for 3 or 4.
I think part of that comes with maturity. Now, Khalil Tate's young. He's, what, 19 years old right
just
now?
Just turned 19.
We had their game last year versus USC when he was 17. He got his first start. So understanding the importance of practice and the process with all of it, I think comes with maturity. And I think it also is tough when you're talking about a young man who's trying to figure out how you manage your time with school and everything else while being the starting quarterback. That's part of the process as well.
They converted a 3rd and 17 earlier on this drive, and on 3rd and 9, they'll try to pick it up again with a deep ball to Ellison. A lot of contact, but no call. And Tony Ellison was jousting with Smiley, and no flag came. 4th and 9.
Yeah, and again, that's a safety. That's Simeon Smiley, number 29, covering Tony Ellison downfield. And they like that matchup because typically safeties aren't comfortable being in press man-to-man coverage. Usually they'd rather be in off coverage, playing more zone where they can utilize their eyes on the quarterback. Good job there by Smiley, and a bit of an inaccurate ball by Tate downfield.
Big Gladden. Anthrop bluffs the fair catch, and it bounds into the end zone, setting Purdue up with 6:17 left to go in the first half. The Boilermakers in a bowl game for the first time in 5 years and trying to cap Jeff Brom's debut season with a win over Arizona. Boilermakers in front of the Wildcats 21-14, and with the ball, Elijah Sindelar, Khalil Tate, both playing well so far.
Both of them taking care of the football too. That's always the biggest thing. That's one of the reasons why I think this Purdue offense has been better from a year ago. At this point in the season last year, they had thrown 25 interceptions. So far this year, only 10 between Blau and Sindelar.
Play action to open this drive, and Sindelar floating off of the fingertips and incomplete. He wanted Bryson Hopkins, who was chased by a few Arizona defenders. 2nd and 10.
Just haven't been able to get into a rhythm with their tight ends to throw a little bit high off Hopkins' hands. He's about as athletic as they get. Son of former Pro Bowl tackle Brad Hopkins for the Houston and Tennessee Oilers and Titans.
Looking to throw it back. He's got a wide open Jackson Anthrop. Stays on his feet, and Schooler somehow recovers to tackle him on his second try. But it's a gain of 20 and a first down.
This is one of the things that Purdue does so well. It's really they manipulate the field. So they roll one way, then throw back the other, getting you to think that they're only going to utilize one half the field. But mind you, head coach Jeff Brom has other plans. He likes to always try to have some sort of misconception, something else going on in the backfield as far as what they're doing.
You know, the 3 years that Jeff Brom was at Western Kentucky, those 3 years combined, they led the country, scoring 46 points per game. He's a really terrific offensive mind. First down play call here is a run to DJ Knox.
Well, and the other piece is they spread the football around. I mean, when you look at who's caught passes so far tonight, I think it was 7 different receivers or 7 different pass catchers. And all of a sudden, Gregory Phillips, who in his career had 2 receiving touchdowns, already has 2 tonight. That's tough to prepare for.
Sindelar steps up, creating extra time. Mahungu makes the reception to the 22. The native of France climbs the ladder for 35 yards and a Purdue first down.
And this is all possible because of how Elijah Sindelar works the pocket. Watch him step up, gathers himself, keeps his eyes downfield, and gives Mahungu an opportunity to extend and make the play. It's incredible to think about the story of Anthony Mahungu, from where he came from, how he learned about the game of football, and what he's developed into.
This is Luca Bruno, senior for Arizona, injured back around the line of scrimmage.
Had an opportunity to meet this young man at the pep rally earlier this week. You could tell he's one of the leaders of that defense. Talking to Marcel Yates, he talks about how those guys are constantly trying to teach the younger players, you know, what to do, how to do it the right way, leading by example. On the left side of your screen, you see it's DJ Knox. And that's what you're taught to do as a running back. Help out your offensive lineman with some of the better defensive fronts. And you can clearly see he gives them a little shot. It looks like he got underneath his ribs.
After the long catch from Mahungu, first down at the 22-yard line.
He's surprised he didn't go back to him.
Game's first 2-score lead off play action. Sindelar scanning the field. He comes underneath to Gregory Phillips, who's been his favorite target today. Phillips has a first down. What a first half for this guy. His 8th catch already.
It's all effort. I mean, it's all the turning of the legs after the play. We're initially trying to get it to the tight end across the middle, but that opened things up for Phillips. It's just all effort after that.
They said first down. They spot him a yard short. 2nd and 1. On his 8th catch of the day, already a career best. DJ Knox cuts it back. He's in for the Purdue touchdown. Everybody getting involved. Knox in from 13.
Well, Arizona gambled and they lost, and wisely Knox sees the backside cut. You're going to see the corner blitz, and he doesn't keep contained. And that's the risk that you run when you decide to bring a blitz. Those guys have to hug tighter to the line of scrimmage to not allow the gap in the defense. Good vision by Knox.
For only his second touchdown of the season. Arizona had taken a 14-7 lead in this game. Purdue has ripped off 3 consecutive scores. And already topping its season average for points in a game. Dellinger's extra point is good. And Purdue in front 28-14. Couple of minutes left in this first half. And by Foster Farms, the new comfort food. A lot of push-ups. They are getting jacked. 28-14. Purdue in front with 3 consecutive touchdowns after Arizona had taken the lead. Latest one from DJ Knox. Tyrell Johnson will return this kick. Miles Hoffman handling the kickoff here. Here comes Johnson. Tyrell Johnson across the 30. Let's go in the huddle, brought to you by SoFi, a modern finance company. We've seen flashes from this Arizona offense. What do they got to do to recapture some of that?
Well, they got to start running the football. And this offense has come in 3rd in the country, averaging 324 yards a game. They only have 49 right now. I'd like to see some more quarterback design runs for Khalil Tate. He's got 7 rushing attempts, but a couple of those have come really from scrambles off of pass plays. And then they've got to capitalize on the big plays when they take their shots, in particular on the safeties of the Purdue defense.
Which they did for both touchdowns. And first down from the 33. J.J. Taylor joining Khalil Tate in the backfield. The first down throw and the quick game Poindexter. And only 3 or 4. DeJuan Hunt with the coverage.
And they still have plenty of time in this half to put together a nice drive. Arizona started with the football to begin the game, so Purdue will get it coming out of half. But as hot as Purdue's been on offense, you'd almost like to try to end the half with you keeping the football and getting a score.
On 2nd and 7 off of the read play. Tate pulls it and gets outside. And Khalil Tate with a first down to the 46. Thieneman the stop. One of the first times that Tate has been able to get going.
And he's going to get Austin Larkin coming off the edge. That's going to be the player that he's reading. And most quarterbacks, they can't keep that football because they don't have the speed to outrun Larkin, who's pretty athletic himself.
John Brown. There's a flag down as Brown crosses into Purdue territory on the other side of the field.
Illegal shift on the offense. 2 men were in motion and never got reset. 5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
That's the 4th penalty of the game for Arizona. Purdue doesn't have a penalty yet.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the other thing I think you can kind of chalk up as to what's the discrepancy so far in this game. I mean, a couple crushing penalties. Obviously, again, on the roughing the punter by J.J. Taylor earlier for Purdue, keeping that drive alive that ended up in 7 points.
So 1st and 15 back at the 41 instead of 2nd and short in Purdue territory. Inside 3 minutes left in this first half. And against a 3-man rush, they'll check it down with Taylor. Nice sure tackle from Marcus Bailey. Sophomore from Columbus, Ohio, who's moved from inside backer to outside backer just so they can get the most number of really good players on the field at once. T.J. McCollum more of an inside backer. Bailey versatile enough where he can play anywhere, and he's had a good year, a little bit out of position.
Yeah, you talk to Nick Holt, he really feels like he should be as an inside backer, but because of the need you talked about, he's playing outside.
2nd and 10. Couple of minutes left, first half. Tate steps up and heaves one down the sideline, incomplete. Tyrell Johnson, the intended receiver, with the coverage from Smiley, 3rd and 10.
The surprise to me is when you watch a lot of Tate preparing for this game, Arizona utilized a lot more 2 tight end sets. In that last set, it was 4 wide receivers and a running back. You know, kind of getting away from some of the things they like to do. And really, something that's been different this year for Arizona is those tight end receptions. Targeting guys like Wilma and Nunley a lot more in the passing game. That just hasn't been the case so far tonight.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen a single target of a tight end. A screen on 3rd and long. Taylor has nowhere to go and loses a yard. Juwan Bentley and Jalen Robinson combining in the tackle. And a timeout taken by Jeff Brom with 2:02. Take the timeout with him and come back in 30 seconds.
Okay, it's time to pick a used
fence in this first half.
And it's really been the defensive front and the linebackers for Purdue. I mean, really forcing Arizona into 3rd and long scenarios where they've struggled this year. I mean, 3rd and 8+ has been difficult for Arizona to convert. A lot of times just stymieing, though, the running game and forcing everything to be on the shoulders of Khalil Tate in the passing game.
A shank. Boy, what a nightmare it's been this year in the punting game for Arizona. Jake Gladding has that one go off the side of his foot. 9-yard punt.
I mean, that is about as bad as it gets, and I feel bad for the young man, but I mean, look at this. It almost looks like he barely made contact with the ball. It actually hit pretty high up on his ankle, and that's typically what you see. Obviously, you want the ball to hit kind of to the outside, more towards your toe, to kind of get that launch and that spiral. But that's what can happen sometimes when it hits too far to the outside and too high up on your foot.
That's a big deal. I mean, it gives Elijah Sindelar and Purdue the ball at the 47-yard line. You mentioned it a moment ago. The Boilermakers will have it to start the second half. Chance to open this thing up. They go with a trick play, and Sindelar throws into double coverage, incomplete. Gregory Phillips defended by Flanagan, Fowles, and Whitaker.
And you see this almost every game once a half. It's the flea flicker. They've got all sorts of things off of this. Wisely, Sindelar was able to move in the pocket to get away from Ian Cruikshank, who was eventually making his way to him. But I don't know that Phillips was really open. It looked like the Arizona defense had that one sniffed out.
2nd and 10. They go to the ground. Jones taken down after 1. We go down to Bruce.
Joe, when people wonder about how Jeff Brom changed the culture here, you talk to the people inside the program, and they told us Brom's no slogan motivator. One of the first messages to the team after he arrived here was he told them, you guys just don't play hard, and we're going to fix that right away. And before we do nothing else, we're going to play hard. And he said that's the biggest difference. When I talked to David Blau, who's their injured quarterback, who's really a team leader, he said that blunt message really was a gut check. He said that's just something you don't want to hear, and it's a serious question.
Screen here, Bruce, over the head of Jones, and Arizona's defense comes up big here, thrown into a short field, forcing a 3 and out.
Yeah, and that could have been a huge play for Purdue. They had that screen dialed up. DeAndre Miller sniffed it out. And you saw Colin Schooler getting after Sindelar and probably getting to him before he wanted to release the football. But talking about Jeff Brom, the other thing is he said, we're going to win now. I'm not waiting to try to win with my players after a few years recruiting here. He convinced those seniors to buy in early on of what his vision was.
Chopper drills one over Shun Brown's head and into the end zone. So Arizona's offense back out there again, having a hard time with this Purdue defense so far.
Yeah, it's just been the Purdue defensive front dominating the line of scrimmage, getting into the backfield, not really allowing anything to get started for either running backs or Khalil Tate. You've got to give them credit because at the beginning of the season, this defense showed some signs of struggling. I mean, we were there for the game versus Michigan and West Lafayette, but since that point in time, they've turned up the pressure. 24 sacks in the last 9 games after only having 1 in their first 3. We talked about the difference in just their rush defense. 115 yards better than what they were a year ago.
Credit to that guy there, Nick Holt, who's a Bay Area native, grew up just a few minutes from here. The Bellarmine Prep, great program in this area. Here's a man running free down the seam. Ellison can't get it. How is there no flag on Josh Okoye?
I don't know what would not warrant a flag there. I mean, watch Okoye. He grabs the hip of Ellison and spins him around, and that's going to be an easy catch.
This is basically he's saving a touchdown by tackling the guy.
I mean, that looks like the definition of pass interference. That's surprising.
Second down 10. They'll try it again over the top, and this one connects.
It's Brian Castile, the true freshman out of Pasadena, California. What an extension. And look how he turns his body. Look at 2 hands on the football.
Seldom use Brian Castile with a reception in a minute 22. They dancing around, lets the blocks develop, gets close to a first down in Boilermaker territory.
Just seldom used. That's his first catch of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, that's typically what you see, though, this time in bowl games. You work in some of those players. You got additional practices to get them reps and to help prepare them. Simeon Smiley coming off the field.
He's played a pretty good first half.
He's come in a lot more often lately as their nickel safety. If they play those 3 safety personnel groupings versus the 3 and 4 wide receiver sets that Arizona plays, it's Thieneman, Mosley, and Smiley who end up coming in and playing together.
A minute 8, all 3 timeouts for Arizona. Could really use a touchdown here with Purdue set to get it to begin the second half. He's got room off the left side. Khalil Tate has a first down inside the 35.
And I don't know how you let this happen. Watch, I mean, there's no one for Khalil Tate on the backside. Easy Chukwu ends up crashing down, and that should be Thieneman. He's got to be more aggressive coming up to kind of take off the angle for Tate.
Timeout taken by Purdue with 50 seconds. Coming up at the half, stay tuned. Rob Stone, Dave Wannstedt, Matt Leinart, Robert Smith, whole gang together for the State Farm halftime show. Texas and Mizzou in the Texas Bowl. The Pinstripe Bowl from Yankee Stadium earlier today, and in the Holiday Bowl, it'll be Washington State and Michigan State tomorrow on FS1. All those stories and more coming up in just a few moments. You know, in the previous play, the ball came out at the end. Some of the Purdue players were shouting that they should have it.
And Tate's not down. He's obviously on top of his own player. Haven't seen an elbow or knee or...
Wow. And then as Navon Mosley trying to rip it away.
He's under further review.
They're going to review this.
You can obviously review, too, if there's clear possession by Purdue, which it looks like Mosley clearly has the football at the end of this play. Mike Pereira, what do you think?
You know, I think Tate still has his arm on the ball. I agree that it's close. You know, obviously they looked at this. I mean, they looked at this and decided not to review this, and then the timeout gave him a little extra time to look. But is Tate completely got the ball out of his left arm? I just don't know. Again, focusing on the fact that they ruled that it was not a fumble.
Has to be beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Beyond, right? It's got to be beyond a shadow of a doubt, and I just don't think it is based on these shots.
You got a shadow of a doubt.
That's pretty good. That's what it is. I have a shadow of a doubt, and anytime I say I'm just not clear, then I'm going to stay with what's on the field. Close. But if I'm looking at this, I don't think I overturn it.
The hip come down now.
Would be huge in the sense of momentum for really Purdue at this point, stopping this drive, because Arizona needs to do something. Given, as I mentioned before, Purdue gets the football coming out of half. So any sort of points right now would be good for Arizona just to get some momentum going into the locker room. Mike P., I got to ask you, when it takes this long, what does that mean to you? Does that mean they're more likely to overturn it?
Well, I look to see what's happening when they write down things here. You know, every time you look at them, this is kind of one of my keys after the decision has been made. If they're writing down things, you know what that means? They're getting the new yard line. They're getting a new clock. It lends you to believe that they are going to reverse this and say that he did get the ball out of his hands before he hit the ground. You know, it's one of those things I hate to say because then you don't need me anymore. You're always going to look down to see whether they're writing it on the card.
No, this is the stuff inside the huddle we need because we hear about it, you know, for each team, but we don't get it from the officials. This is great.
Here you go.
After review, the runner was not down prior to the ball coming loose. It'll be first down Purdue at the 32-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 56 seconds. 56 seconds.
So Devon Mosley just takes it away from Khalil Tate, and Purdue takes it from Arizona.
The first turnover of the game, and look at defensive coordinator Nick Holt. How fired up is he? And then there's the dance by Mosley.
So 56 seconds, Purdue with the ball and a timeout. And the penalties have mounted. Now the turnover. Kind of a mistake-littered second quarter for Rich Rodriguez's bunch. They could be in trouble here if Purdue can put together a scoring drive.
I'll be curious to see how aggressive they are. Only because, again, they get the ball come out of half.
Right.
And it looks like they're bringing in a formation that would lead you to think they're just going to kneel on it. But they do have a timeout left, or what, a couple timeouts.
You're always careful with gadgets when it comes to Jeff Brom.
Maybe a trick play?
Yeah, what are we doing with going to a kneel down 56 seconds? And you bet it is a trick play. They hand it off to DJ Knox. He gets a first down and more. They fake the kneel down and run for 41 yards. Jeff Brom strikes again.
He's only 5'7", so when he crouches down, he gets lost in behind the offensive lineman, and Sindelar kind of almost makes it look like it's a sprint out. And then it's student body left for the tight ends, and Markel Jones running downfield. What a play design.
Third trick play they've tried today, and the first one that works is the fake kneel down.
The previous play is under further review.
Mike, any idea what we might be looking at here?
Well, you certainly look at who they hand the ball off to. Does he have a knee down? He does not. Might they be looking at something down the sidelines where he stepped out of bounds? If he stepped out of bounds before they actually ruled him out of bounds, I would think that's probably the thing that's most in question. But clear the handoff is legal. Number one is in a legal back position. So it's got to be just where he may have stepped out of bounds.
If we go back to the very beginning, I think the thing that's most impressive about it is when you call up a trick play in the huddle, guys kind of get antsy, and the offensive line didn't. They held their water, then released.
The runner's knee was not down, so the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down, Purdue.
And then how about the patience for DJ Knox sitting there with the ball in his hands, waiting for what has to feel like an eternity before actually taking off.
It's a scary feeling. But watch the offensive lineman. They pause, acting, and then all of a sudden they release. I mean, that 1 second or second and a half pause feels like an eternity.
That's that month of bull practices synchronizing that timing. And they turned it into a big play. Put the ball inside the 40-yard line with 47 seconds.
And this is that area of the field when you look at Anthony Mahungu. But I recall the play, remember seeing it, end up getting points off of it on that drive. As Bruce pointed out, it was Nick Holt as the interim head coach at that point for Western Kentucky. Nonetheless, I'm sure that play did come from Jeff Brom's playbook.
We're trying to cap it off with some points here.
Gotta love it, though. National stage, have the opportunity to kind of throw the kitchen sink at you.
Knox to the 30.
This is where you have 2 plays called. So you get up, run the football. You've already got the next one. You don't have to worry about communicating because you just had the timeout to be able to call 2 plays in the huddle.
2nd and 2. They run it again. Knox has a first down with 25 seconds. The clock stops for the chains to move. It should have. It didn't. Ran all the way down to 17. 25 seconds when he was marked down.
And you saw Rich Rodriguez hot. It looked like Jeff Brom was hot in that case. Making sure the official was aware that the clock was still running.
The game clock did not stop properly on the first down. Please reset it to 27 seconds.
Now, so they'll load it way back up. I think that might even be a couple extra.
Yeah. Still got a timeout, though. Still got everything in the playbook if you want it.
First down from the 27-yard line. Sindelar confidently steps up. Dumps it off for DJ Knox. First down inside the 15.
And now this is where you got to make a decision, and they do indeed elect to call the timeout now. With 13 seconds and this close to the end zone, you could probably take a couple of shots. They got to be quick, but it's either got to be out of bounds or in the end zone. Can't afford to take a sack. Can't run the football here either.
And it ran a couple of more seconds. They're going to reset it to 15.
That might give you enough time where if you get a completion that doesn't get out of bounds or that doesn't get the end zone, you could probably rush up to spike it. But you're kind of cutting it close. 15 seconds to me might be like the cutoff for that. I don't know how comfortable I'd feel in that scenario.
Now, we're being told they've given, at some point, Purdue credit for a timeout back that had been taken off of the scoreboard. So they still do have one timeout remaining.
Well, that changes everything then, because, again, you can still run the football here if they give you a light box.
First down and 10. They do run it. And Markel Jones is inside the 10. They will use that final timeout now. Mike Pereira.
They got the timeout back because of the fumble play. What they did is ruled it was not a fumble and down, so actually Purdue took a timeout, and then when they looked at it, reversed it to a change of possession. The clock stops on the change of possession, so that's why they gave him the timeout back.
There you go.
And so now you're looking at a scenario where with 10 seconds left, you've probably got one shot, safely, one shot to the end zone, and then after that you're kicking a field goal. Great opportunity, though, to distance yourself from Arizona, though, again, scoring here and getting the ball coming out of half.
Doesn't seem like the last 2 minutes of this half has taken like an hour. Had a couple of reviews. And,
Let's find it interesting. Elijah Sindelar only wears one little strip there of eye black, not two.
It looks sweet, though, dude.
It does. Sindelar has been phenomenal in the red zone this year. High completion percentage, not turning over the football. So you can trust him to take a shot here. And it's really been Mahungu and Hopkins, their tight end, number 89. Right here. They're the two guys typically they like because of their size and their ability to make the tough catches and use their body.
So perhaps one last look at the end zone. Sindelar for Mahungu. Can't hang on. Whitaker was able to jar it out of there. And they will bring the field goal team out.
And this is a heck of a play by Jace Whitaker. Look at the cushion. So it allows Mahungu, once he gets to the inside, the ball's a little bit behind. See how it forces Mahungu to slow down? If it's to the back end line, I don't know that Whitaker can make this play, and he does just enough to grab the right arm and face mask of Mahungu, but nonetheless, break it up.
So they'll settle for a field goal attempt from Spencer Evans. They basically rotate the kicking duties back and forth between Evans and Dellinger. It's Evans' turn. He comes on and finishes the first half with a field goal. And finishes the highest scoring first half in Foster Farms Bowl history. 45 combined between the teams. Now we get you to Rob Stone in Los Angeles for the State Farm halftime show. It's 31-4 2017 Foster Farms Bowl on Fox. It's Purdue and Arizona, and after 30 minutes, the Boilermakers out in front 31-14 in a game that was 14-7 at one point. But Purdue really getting it going offensively and taking control of this game and ready to get the ball to begin the second half.
The quarterback we talked about coming into the game was Khalil Tate. I think Elijah Sindelar had a little something to say about that. This game was kind of pitted to be this rushing attack from the Arizona Wildcats versus this Purdue Boilermakers defense, but it's been the offense for Purdue that's come alive so far in this game.
371 yards for the Purdue offense, which will begin the second half at the 25-yard line. A few minutes ago, inside that Purdue locker room.
Okay, let's go. Let's get locked back in now. 30 minutes of football. Let's get locked in, all right? Our goal is to play more intense than the other team. That's what our goal is. I don't care about the score. We play more intense at every possession. So if you step on the field, you better bring your intensity. Because that's how you win football games. That's what this team takes pride in, is bringing intensity. Make sure we do the small things. Nothing stupid. Take care of the ball. No dumb penalties. Play in between the whistles. And we bring the thump. You understand me? Everybody brings the thump. So when you take the field, you better get ready to bring the thump. Let's go.
Starts the second half with a toss to Gregory Phillips, who has 9 catches already and a minimal gain. Jeff Brom back here in the area where he was an NFL quarterback for a couple of years. Bounced around different practice squads, but active duty with the 49ers a couple of different seasons in the 90s. That's the first down toss to Mahungu, who takes it to the 44.
And his words couldn't be any more accurate. I mean, so far Purdue has been the team that's come out. It's been more aggressive. It's been more, intense as far as how they played on both sides of the football.
So many times that becomes the question in bowl games on which team wants to be there more. I don't think we necessarily saw Arizona not wanting to be here in that first half, but there is no question Purdue ready to play, and as Jeff Brom was saying, bringing the thump over the first half of this game. Toss to DJ Knox, gain of 2.
Look, you're a 500 team. You have the opportunity to either end your last football game for these seniors and guys who are moving on as a winning football team in your last year, or a losing football team. And it doesn't sound like much to be on the line, but I mean that's something that you'll remember for the rest of your life. So, for this Purdue team, I mean, with everything the way it's gone throughout the course of their career, of course they want to win this one and try to go out in the right way.
Sindelar zips one for a first down to Bryson Hopkins in Arizona territory.
Finally getting something going to the tight ends. Look how tight this window is. You use a switch release to be able to create that space where Hopkins comes back to the inside, but it was all created by Phillips clearing it out in that switch release of both those players.
Sindelar 275 yards trying to add to it. To the sideline he goes. And another completion to Gregory Phillips. It's a little bit chippy. He's been working on Jace Whitaker all evening. Got 10 catches. Came into the game with 30 on the season.
It's incredible. And again, it's all been on, a lot of it's been on first down. And that's been the change for this Purdue offense, is instead of being more of a 50-50 team between running and passing the football on first down, it's been a lot more passing.
Sindelar with his first incompletion, and it was almost an interception for Whitaker. First incompletion on this drive, that is. Whitaker can't get it despite this great effort.
Well, this was almost a tremendous interception by Whitaker, but he just couldn't maintain control and possession of the football as he went to the ground. You can see Purdue's trying to exploit the seams of the defense. And it's forcing the cornerbacks to have to overlap. So it's really this part of the field, and it's causing the cornerbacks to have to kind of overlap, which makes it a little bit more difficult in coverage.
On 2nd and 10, first run of the second half. Solid gain for Markel Jones down to Bruce.
Joe, I talked to Rich Rodriguez a couple of minutes ago. He said, really, we got to find a way to get pressure on Sindelar. At least getting his vision. He's way too relaxed right now, and that's a problem for us. We got to get some pressure around him.
It sure has looked comfy.
Well, and that's been an issue for Arizona all year long. That's why defensive coordinator Marcel Yates has to dial up pressures. He's brought in cornerback blitzes, brought in the linebackers at times. Purdue's running a lot of 7-man protections.
Bringing pressure here, throws off his back foot, and it's almost picked off by Crookshank. But Fields was a free rusher, and it sets up for 4th and 6.
And they were looking for a quick answer. And that's the problem. When you start bringing pressure like this, and you've got a free runner as a quarterback, you're thinking that he's going to continue on in his route. Coming to the inside, he's not going to break back out because you don't have time to set your feet and get the ball to him.
A long one coming here for J.D. Dellinger, whose career long is 42. This is from 45. Spencer Evans, a much bigger leg, but it's Dellinger's turn. Not close. And a big stop for Arizona on its first defensive possession of the second half. The Khalil Tate in the offense will try and get it charged up. Long. So Arizona trying to steal some of the momentum that Purdue owned late in that first half. Scoring 24 unanswered points. But a missed field goal, and the Wildcats take over the 28-yard line. Started the second half with a Khalil Tate run. His stiff arm doesn't get him much. Jacob Thieneman there to guide him out of bounds.
The defensive line for Purdue shifted right before the snap of the football. That's always tough for an offensive line to deal with when all of a sudden you've got to adjust on the run. I think Khalil Tate was a little bit surprised when Jacob Thieneman showed up that quick and was ready to make a tackle.
Against pressure on 2nd and 8, Tate evades the rusher, rolls to his right, and stumbles down to Bruce.
Joe, Rich Rodriguez had told me, we got to just get Khalil to really settle down and let the game come to him. He's such a competitor. He keeps trying to do too much. We don't need that. We just need him to relax and just play.
12 carries, 40 yards. That's an average of a little more than 3 per carry. Again, on the season, he averages a first down per run.
They're going to need him to make a play here in 3rd and long.
Numbers through the air. They're down in 7. Purdue rushes 4. Tate with time, but tight coverage downfield. Here he is trying to make a play. A flag flies as Poindexter goes up and makes the catch.
The flag down's in an interesting spot. And the question is going to be, is it a push-off by Poindexter, or is it going to be defensive holding once Khalil Tate got outside the pocket and bought extra time?
Talk about the reaction of that Arizona bench.
The ruling on the field is a completed pass. Holding defense number 8. That penalty will be declined. First down.
A big 3rd down pickup.
That's the hard part for any defensive back, is once the quarterback leaves the pocket, puts more pressure on you to have to cover downfield. Right here. It happened before, actually got outside. Let's see Okonye grab on.
First down from the 44. On the out, it's Ellison. Cut down in midfield. DeJuan Hunt on a gain of 6 or 7.
Talked about it in the first half, but you typically see those completions going to the tight ends. As you see Bryce Walmart come into the game, but gotten a lot of gains off of those easy completions to the pass or to the flats with those RPOs to their tight ends. Just haven't seen it much tonight.
The tight ends have not been targeted yet by Arizona. Tate slides up in the pocket and gets thrown down for a loss. TJ McCollum.
And I don't know what Khalil Tate was seeing, because he had a shot to hit Poindexter. He's going to roll right behind Thieneman. Look at that. All that room. And Tate was looking that way, but for whatever reason, didn't want to pull the trigger.
So 3rd and 6. Tate taking a deep shot. Tyrell Johnson incomplete, but a flag. Defended by Navon Mosley, and the flag came flying in. This would be 2nd Purdue penalty of the drive, 1st one accepted.
And they were both pretty physical down the field. And this has been the matchup that Arizona's been trying to work the entire game, working on Mosley and Smiley.
Pass interference. Defense number 27. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Officially the first call of the game against Purdue.
Let's take another look. It's the handout, and he's looking back to try to find the football. I don't think Mosley ever saw it. And actually gets his hand on the ball There wasn't a ton of contact to me. Mike Pereira, what do you think?
I think he did the right thing by getting his head around and making a legitimate play on the ball with inside position. I just don't see from what we have seen that was interference at all.
Straight up the middle they go with Nick Wilson. And before you asked, Mike, I knew that he either didn't like the call or he had something that tasted really bad just by looking at him over there, the look on his face.
But Mosley does a good job. I mean, you see how he disrupts the pass, but to Mike's point, he turns back and locates the football. And clearly Jeff Brom is irate and I tend to agree with him.
Second down and short. Tate's got it. Juwan Bentley's got him. A flag comes in. Antoine Miles there with the stop as well.
I mean, every gap is accounted for. I mean, they're just flooding the line of scrimmage with defenders.
Offense number 67. 10 yards. Replay second down.
It's on the right tackle, Gerard DeBeer.
And this is tough. I mean, look at all the bodies down within the line of scrimmage as the linebackers start to creep up, and you see a cross dog blitz by McCollum and Bentley. It's tough sledding. And you've got all those bodies all of a sudden slanting and moving and a couple linebackers blitzing. You have to adjust on the fly.
One of the top rushing offenses in the country. 325 per game, held to 91 on the ground so far. Tate to throw. Open man, Tony Ellison. Touchdown, Arizona. His second of the game. This one from 40.
And then this happens. I mean, unbelievable. You're playing so well, but watch both safeties, Thieneman, Mosley. I mean, this has been the entire game. Arizona's trying to exploit both. And I don't know what they saw on that side of the field that would lead them to think that they needed to react like that and why Mosley would leave the middle of the field. But an easy pitch and catch.
Exactly what Arizona needed to open this second half. They get a stop defensively. They get a touchdown offensively. Second one of the day for the junior from Granite Bay, California. And back to a two-score game in the Foster Farms Bowl. This is tonight more than 20 yards downfield with some blown coverage in the back end of that Purdue defense.
They were aided by a pass interference call to help.
Touchback will have the drive starting at the 25-yard line. We take a look at our Ford unstoppable player. Quarterback on the other side, Elijah Sindelar, 285 and 3 scores so far.
He's been in rhythm and on time all night long. I think the thing that impressed me most about him is the way he's worked through his progressions. Watch him work his eyes. One's not there, two's not there. He finds three. In this particular case, it's Gregory Phillips, and he's found him a number of times tonight. But 15 bowl practices to prepare. He feels very confident in the game plan. His offensive line has done a good job protecting him.
Able to march it down the field to open the second half. Settled for a field goal, which was missed. 11th catch of the game for Gregory Phillips. Stop by Lorenzo Burns. Second and 6.
Phillips is sure putting on a show. I mean, where was this all season?
30 catches, which is... It's a good year. 30 catches, no touchdowns. Tonight, 11 catches, 2 touchdowns. It's a really good night. DJ Knox has first down yardage.
And you love to see that too. Gregory Phillips is a senior. He's a guy that I'm sure has aspirations of playing in the NFL, and this is his last opportunity in a game-like scenario to really showcase his talent and ability. And I'm sure Jeff Brom is well aware of that, and that's one of the reasons why they're trying to target him so much.
Sindelar attacks the middle of the field again, but Mahungu can't pull it off with the Dak. Second and 10. Purdue's offense on the season averages less than 400 per game tonight, and we're only midway through the third quarter. Already have more than 400 yards of offense.
Look, the Arizona defense, I mean, they've got the worst pass defense in the Pac-12. They've struggled this year, and right now Elijah Sindelar is picking them apart. He's getting all the time in the world, and when they do decide to blitz, he's getting the ball out quick.
He's got one-on-one with Mahungu to the top, goes in that direction off his hands, and it's picked off. Scotty Young, his first career interception. Mahungu had a chance, Then Whitaker had a chance. Young the one that'll come down with it.
And a team that leads the Pac-12 in interceptions this season takes advantage of a missed play by Mahungu. You've got to catch that football, and Jace Whitaker does just enough to tip the football up to Scotty Young, the true freshman out of San Diego, California.
Lead the Pac-12, top 5 in the country in that category. That's 19 picks for this defense. And Marcel Yates, the D coordinator, will quickly point to those takeaways as the biggest difference when these defense has been able to help the Cats win games in this 7-5 year.
Don't be surprised if Arizona doesn't take a shot at some point early in this drive.
How about a trick play on the first play? Tyrell Johnson trying to get around Marcus Bailey, who stayed home and shut it down on the loss of 1.
I can't begin to tell you how good Marcus Bailey has played this year. I mean, they've asked him to do so much. They put him out in space. Let's take a look, though, as it looked like he might have grabbed the face mask. That's a couple of times tonight, but Mike Pereira is saying no.
Helmet. If it's on the side of the helmet like that, doesn't grasp an opening, then it's not a foul.
Here's Tate exploding and sticking the shoulder down into the secondary. They spot him right at the marker. Devon Mosley took the brunt of that hit. It's enough for an Arizona first down.
I think Khalil Tate's letting the game come to him now.
Yeah.
But he's bringing it to the defense.
Rich Rod had told Bruce Feldman at halftime he needed to let the game come to him a little bit more. Taylor with the gain of 1.
Well, and that's the difference, too, between Khalil Tate and Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson probably tries to make a defender miss in space like that. Khalil Tate lowers the shoulder. I mean, he almost runs more like a running back once he gets out into the open field. And I think that's the difference between the two when you talk about the type of quarterbacks that Purdue has faced this year.
It was way back week 1 when they saw Lamar Jackson. Tate rolling to his right, sets his feet, lofts one into coverage. Tyrell Johnson, he makes the catch. There is a flag down as Johnson pulls it in. And for the moment, Arizona's back in this game within 4.
Pass interference, defense, number 41. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
In the blink of an eye, they go from perhaps getting blown out of this thing to an extra point from a 3-point game.
And once again, throwing it up, targeting the safeties. They trust their wide receivers against the safeties for Purdue. In that case, Thieneman just couldn't turn around and get a hand in on the football, and credit Tyrell Johnson for being able to adjust his body and make the play.
Tyrell Johnson, who becomes the latest senior, playing his final game in college, getting his first touchdown of the season. The Arizona defense takes it away. Scotty Young Jr. with his first career interception. Tyrell Johnson, not the biggest guy, 5'7", but he throws it up there, and the 5'7" guy comes down with it. But he's got 4 touchdown passes on 14 of 18, tying a Foster Farms Bowl record with those 4 scores. And a whole lot longer to play in this one. Take the reverse on the return, and Jackson Anthrop steps out of the 27. Take another break. Arizona and Purdue engaged in a good one in the Foster Farms Bowl. Stick with us. Got a good one going, 31-28. Purdue back on offense. It was a 31-14 halftime lead, has disappeared. Markel Jones stop and start to let the hole to develop. And I think it's a gain of 3. Purdue pretty clean first half. A couple of miscues so far in the second. The missed field goal on the first drive. Big pass interference penalty led to Arizona's first touchdown of the half, and then the interception quickly followed by Arizona's next score. Back-to-back runs, and Trevor Wood shuts this one down. Converted tight end, first man to hit Markel Jones. A loss of a yard, and it's 3rd and long.
You got to love the fact that Trevor Wood's the type of player that's unselfish, willing to convert from a tight end to go play defensive end because of the injuries that this Arizona defense has faced up front, but he's got a very bright future. They keep him on that side of the football. This is where you got to have someone step up and make a play for Purdue. Will it be Mahungu?
He's to the top. Sindelar looking wide side. Strong throw for Gregory Phillips, but he's short. Jace Whitaker with a sure tackle. And when it seemed like Purdue could really use a drive to take back some of the momentum, Arizona pitches a 3-and-out.
And the biggest key is Jace Whitaker coming up, breaking on the football and making the tackle in open space. We saw Gregory Phillips earlier in tonight's game be able to make a play in a similar situation. This time, Whitaker with the tackle, able to get off the field.
That is a booming punt. Sean Brown back to the 16. Brown thrown down immediately. Antonio Blackman with a special teams tackle, and Khalil Tate back out there.
And typically we're accustomed to seeing Khalil Tate make the big plays in the running game, but tonight Purdue's taken that away and he's gone to the air, and they continually utilize the matchups on the safeties for Purdue, whether it's been Thieneman, Jallo, Mosley, Smiley. At one point, they've tried to utilize all of their matchups with the slot wide receivers and the outside wide receivers on the safeties for Purdue for big plays.
His longest run is 15 yards. They're hitting those pass plays downfield and getting Arizona back in this game.
And when you talk to the coaching staff at Arizona, that's basically what they said has happened in the last 4 weeks. The first 4 weeks in October, he was phenomenal. Then all of a sudden, his team started to take away the running game, and he hadn't quite gotten in sync to be able to play well enough in the passing game to allow him to be effective.
Spread the field out, try and open it up for him, but can't get outside. Lost a yard or two. Marcus Bailey pushed him out.
Some might have questioned the team speed for Purdue's defense. So far tonight, they're not having any of that. I mean, this defense has done a good job of setting an edge. It'll use the sideline as that 12th defender.
Tate. Short gain. Again, it's Bailey.
I mean, that's just hard to coach. A player out in space, he had coverage on the tight end. He was able to react off of that to make the open field tackle and force Tate out of bounds.
So 3rd and 10 for Arizona.
Again, if they're looking to throw the football, they keep isolating their slot wide receivers, whether it's number 9, Tony Ellison, and number 2, Tyrell Johnson. Both players in the slot.
Tate running out of room and running out of bounds. It was Lorenzo Neal that closed on him, and it's 4th down.
And there's nowhere to go with the football, but the Arizona offensive line should be irate with the quarterback just for running out of bounds and taking a sack. But as you can see, this Purdue defense has mixed up their looks and their coverage is downfield. It's been a little bit confusing for Khalil Tate at times, particularly when they put them in 3rd and long.
Rich Rod is holding his breath here. Jake Ladding punting out of his own end zone. He shanked one earlier, picks up a low snap here, and hits an ugly line drive that Jackson Anthrop takes on a fair catch. I don't know how he had time to signal a fair catch on a bullet of a punt.
It was pretty quick.
It was real fast.
It's really usually any gesture upward like that too will trigger the fair catch.
Good field position for the Boilermakers. Will start the drive at the Arizona 43. This does the trick. It's looking kind of back and forth motion.
I think he's trying to wave it off, obviously, for any of the outside blockers to get away from it, but
he didn't intend, maybe, but what? Sindelar under pressure and sack. Dane Cruikshank on a safety blitz.
Dane Cruikshank has had one heck of a game, and he's going to come off the edge here and chase down Elijah Sindelar. For the most part, the protection's been pretty good for Sindelar throughout the course of the game, but in this case, he's got to find a way of getting rid of the football because there's no one for him in protection, and there's really no quick throw for Sindelar.
Second time a secondary blitz has gotten home to Sindelar. They lost 11 here, 2nd and 21. Closing minutes of the third quarter. Steps up, goes over the middle for Mahungu, who can't hang on. Little bit low, but you know, Anthony Mahungu feels like he should have had it.
And this is the third drop for Mahungu, who's still a developing player when you think about it. He hails from Paris, France. He learned to play the game of football and the rules really from Madden. Grew up playing soccer and rugby and had aspirations and dreams of one day playing in the NFL. So he's still developing, but he's got to find a way of coming up with that catch.
First heard of the sport of football in a comic book him and his brother were reading. Fell in love with it soon after. Third down and a mile. Sindelar's sideline. It's caught by Jared Sparks. His first of the game, but Jace Whitaker's all over him. And because of that first down sack, not a whole lot going on this drive. The punt team comes out.
Sparks, who also plays as the backup quarterback for Purdue with David Blau being out. He looks a little ginger coming off the field, but they think he's got a bright future at wide receiver. But good stop for the Arizona defense to be able to get off the field and not surrender any points.
Boy, how much would Arizona like to get the ball in the hands of Shun Brown on a return? 2 touchdowns this season, a third that was called back by a penalty against Arizona State. A fair catch. Their shopper's done a nice job against him tonight. NFL doubleheader on Fox on Sunday. Vikings and Bears. Vikings trying to get a first-round bye. And Cam Newton and the Panthers against Matt Ryan and the Falcons in a game that could decide the NFC South. That and plenty more this Sunday on Fox. Check your local listings for the game in your area.
And Mike P. will be down in Atlanta for the Panthers versus Atlanta Falcons.
In Atlanta, it's going to be a heck of a football game with, of course, Atlanta having to win. And if they win, they're in. If they lose, Seattle wins. Yeah, really kind of an interesting Week 17 in the NFL.
Yeah, it is. And Atlanta they haven't been able to put it together this year. Julio Jones doesn't seem like he's quite healthy. Matt Ryan not having as good of a year. Steve Sarkisian down there as their offensive coordinator. It just doesn't seem like they've been able to get into a flow on offense.
Matt Ryan just bought his whole offensive line big green eggs for Christmas, so kind of like the Falcons in that one.
Good gift.
It's a great gift. Great gift, Brady. Short gain for Nick Wilson on first down. 2nd and 8. Well, as much as the final minutes of the first half really crept by, this third quarter has blown by. It's a 3-point game with a minute plus left to play in the third. Keep it on the ground. Wilson crunched by McCollum. T.J. McCollum. First and only season at Purdue. The Western Kentucky transfer shuts the play down at the line of scrimmage.
There is zero hesitation for McCollum. Watch this. I mean, the hole opens and he feels it. He meets Wilson right away. This is the graduate transfer from Western Kentucky. Obviously followed as defensive coordinator here to Purdue. And so this has got Nick Holt, defensive coordinator, has helped change his life.
3rd down, 7. Tate steps up. Tate runs, not going to get it. McCollum and Bentley likely bringing this third quarter to a close.
If there was any question whatsoever about this Purdue's defense's ability to stop Khalil Tate in the running game, they're answering the call right now.
Clock runs out. We've got a good one going. And we've got a good finish coming in the Foster Farms Bowl. 31-28. Purdue and Arizona on to the 4th.
Resolution number 1. Binge more. Join the Uncarrier and get
all set for the fourth quarter of the 2017 Foster Farms Bowl on Fox. And a 3-point game after Arizona handled that third quarter, scoring all 14 points. Joe Davis, Brady Quinn, and Bruce Feldman. And Jake Ladding to punt out of his own end zone for the second time in the last few minutes. Caught a low snap the last time. Another low snap, picks this one up, and it's a good one that sends Anthrop back to the 45 with a fair catch. Before Purdue's first snap of this drive, here's Bruce.
Joe, David Blau has really been a leader of this team, and he's been kind of like another coach, especially since he's been out with a dislocated ankle. I talked to him before the game, and I know he wants to go be a coach after his career. I said, so what are you going to do after this? He goes, I'm coming back. I got a 5th year. I'm way ahead of schedule. I'm 7 weeks out. I'm going to be there in spring ball, and I'm not letting these young guys take my reps. I want to get my master's, and I want to come back and quarterback this team.
I think I speak for our whole crew when I say that he was one of the nicest guys we got to talk to this year. Back before the Michigan game in September. Really impressive young man. Sindelar all day to scan the field. Good coverage leads to him getting flushed and taking what he can get, which is one.
Tell you what, though, his decision making since he's had to take over as the starting quarterback with Blau out has been phenomenal. Really hasn't forced many things. He's utilized his legs well, but not to the point where he's left clean pockets. I know that doesn't seem like much in that last play, but he didn't take a sack. He actually got a positive gain.
To the ground here, Markel Jones with a nice cut and shifts his way for a first down. Didn't look like there was much there, but Jones able to get 9 yards and a Purdue first down.
He's an efficient runner, so watch as he hits the hole. Everything's going forward, one cut, jump cut back the other way. Extremely efficient. Doesn't waste much time side to side. Breaks those arm tackles.
Jones has 76 yards. Knox has 80. Jones here on first down. The minimal gain.
You know, you think at this point in the game, based on how many trick plays we've already seen from Purdue, they can't have much else in the tank. I know it's bowl season. You have plenty of time to prepare. They always got a bunch in their arsenal. I wonder if they just have one more up their sleeve at some point.
I wouldn't put it past him. Past this guy. Arizona shows pressure and brings it from the corner. Sindelar goes the other way with an incomplete pass. Chase Whitaker, who they went after time and time again in the first half, has come up big a couple of times here in the second. 3rd and 9.
This is that area of the field, so you got to wonder, as good as your defense has played throughout the game, with the exception of a couple drives out of half, if you're Purdue, is this 4-down territory? Are you thinking, if you're Jeff Brom, of maybe something that could be just short but still be able to go for it on 4th down? They've gone for a number of them tonight.
On 3rd and 9, Elijah Sindelar scans the field underneath. They get a gain of 7 with a nice open field tackle from Tony Fields. As Darius Pittman gets his first catch of the night, and it looks like the offense will stay out there for a 4th down and 2 play.
First catch of the season. Pittman, another true freshman. Talked a lot about true freshmen tonight, mostly for Arizona, but Pittman's got a very bright future.
So here you go, 4th down.
And the guy you've been working all night long, Gregory Phillips, the senior's really stepped up. He's the guy you try to work to in this scenario.
Play clock winding down, and so Jeff Brom will use his first timeout. We'll take it with him. Stick around. 4th down and 2 coming up in a 3-point game. Chance they put it in the air this time?
They've got to put it in the air this time. It's too far, I think, to run it.
4th down and 2 for the Boilermakers. Sindelar looks to throw. Out of the backfield, it's Jones. Markel Jones close to the marker. Where will they spot him? With Lorenzo Burns making the tackle. Early indications are short. Jeff Brom all over the officials, thinking that ball spotted about a yard short of where it should be.
An unbelievable play by Lorenzo Burns, the redshirt freshman, to try to make that open field tackle versus Markel Jones, who's got him by at least 30 pounds. And I don't know about that spot. This is going to be tough because they spot it short, but right as he extends, it looks like he's clearly past the marker. I'd love to ask Mike Pereira, what do you think?
The previous play of the runner short of the line to gain is under further review.
You know, these spots are always tough. Remember now, it's not where the body is, it's where the ball crosses the sideline. And to me, when you piece all these shots together, you know, as it looks as he backs up and reaches out, you know, I would say it looks to me like he crosses the first down line. And even though it's pretty tough to say, I'm going to go with you, Brady. I think he probably has made the first down.
Gutsy call, though, when you think about it, right? They tried to work the short side of the field, and they throw to their running back was well short of the mark, and then he really had to make a play.
I mean, you look at this shot here, and now that last shot made it look like it's hard to tell when he reaches out that ball as he first starts to reach backwards. That ball's very near the sideline. It's another one of these that's really close, ruled short, but I think this is a tough decision and a very big play that David Ames has got to make a decision on.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Again, that's the terminology, beyond a shadow of a doubt. We'll have to see when they look at this, but again, it's not where he reaches, it's not where his body comes down, it's where the ball crosses the sideline in his right arm, and that's the determination that they've got to make.
And the tough part for Markel Jones is as he spins, he probably isn't necessarily aware of where he is to the sideline and all that. He's just trying to extend to get to the marker, and it almost looks like he crosses out of bounds where, to your point, Mike, the ball may have been legitimately where it was spotted. I mean,
yeah, I think when you look at this last shot here that we just showed, you know, that's the one that gives you, you're always looking for something as close as you can get down the line. And remember now, he's got to get up to just a yard short. I think this one really is pretty hard to overturn based on that shot.
We've had a number of reviews tonight. These officials have not had it easy.
Here's a call.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands as called. First down, Arizona.
So Arizona comes up with its second fourth down stop of the night, and in a three-point game here in the fourth quarter, the Wildcats will have it.
And what a stop by Lorenzo Burns. Talking to the defensive coordinator Marcel Yates, he said, you know, he's not typically the size you'd like for a boundary corner. Typically those guys are a little bit bigger. They get more runs their way. They like to be a little bit more physical. But for the redshirt freshman, he's got a lot of fight, and he demonstrated it right there.
Jeff Brom still giving the officiating crew his thoughts on it. He was right on top of it.
But again, to me, it comes down to the decision to throw short of the sticks.
You know, I always think it's interesting when the coach gets on the officials on the sideline when the officials didn't make the decision. The decision is made upstairs in the replay booth, and they're just actually repeating what the replay official said.
Go shoot the messenger. Tate off play action. Sets up deep in the pocket. Wants Ellison off his fingertips.
And you could have had your pick on that play. Whether it was Ellison, Shun Brown as well, had a step on the outside. Just going to be a double post concept. Ellison had a beat on this. I think I'm beating a dead horse, but look where they're throwing at. I mean, that's been the game plan coming into this.
Safety.
Working on the safety, whether it's a post high safety or one rotating down of the slot. That's the matchup they like.
Here's a misdirection play. J.J. Taylor is spinning his way across the 40. It'll be 3rd and 5.
Nice play there by Danny Izichukwu. Stayed at home. A little counter play, and they had Bryce Woma coming over to seal him. The true freshman tight end who's still developing as a run blocker and a pass blocker, but couldn't quite seal him off. Critical 3rd down.
Taylor motions out Tate steps up and steps out of trouble. Down the sideline, incomplete. Poindexter defended by Okonye. And Purdue's defense thrown out there after the turnover on downs with a big stand here.
Jalen Robinson just gets a free rush, and Lorenzo Neal then flushes out Khalil Tate. It's Okonye with the tight coverage. Pretty physical with Poindexter. Poindexter unhappy there wasn't a flag.
Jake Ladding, his best punt of the night. Fair catch for Anthrop. So the defense is coming up with some big stops. Purdue will have it with a 3-point lead after this. 31-14 lead. Purdue's offense has been shut down in the second, allowing Arizona to climb back into it. 31-28 fourth quarter. Elijah Sindelar opens this drive with a toss for Jackson Anthrop, who's been quiet today. Leads the team in receptions on the season. Only his third tonight.
A lot of success, though, for Elijah Sindelar throwing on first down tonight. Arizona playing softer coverage. As you look out now, they've come up to press the outside receivers for Purdue.
DJ Knox. First down.
If you're Purdue right now, what you'd like to try to do is put together a long, methodical drive. You're up 3 points. Try to kill some time off this clock. Try to make it a 2-score game.
One of those kinds of drives old linemen live for. Right away on the ground, and a much smaller defensive front for Arizona. That is the biggest issue for Arizona's defense, the lack of size and depth on the D-line. The big O-line trying to lean on it. Anthrop on the jet sweep, pinballs to the line of scrimmage and gets crunched by Scotty Young. No gain, 2nd and 10.
And that was all Dane Cruikshank on that last play. The tight end for Purdue released to the outside, but Cruikshank did a good job of keeping his leverage. He stayed to the outside, he turned the football back, forced no gain.
Purdue not wasting any time getting back up on the ball. They'll check to the sideline, get the call for 2nd and 10.
Put all the bodies up around the line of scrimmage. Arizona's done a nice job of mixing up their fronts, mixing up their looks.
Play action. Blitz picked up. Sindelar throws high for Sparks. Cruikshank was lurking out there. 3rd down.
They're starting to turn up the pressure on Elijah Sindelar. Trevor Wood gets in at the end of the play. Boy, he's got a ton of upside, and I really feel like he could be a guy that can win some of those one-on-one battles in the pass rush, be able to get pressure on opposing quarterbacks. I don't know that Arizona has that guy necessarily right now. Some young guys could develop like Wilborn, but still a work in progress.
On 3rd down, pressure coming. Sindelar throws it out of bounds. They've continued to bring the heat here in the second half, and Sindelar had no chance, no option but to heave it to the sideline.
This is called a house blitz because they're bringing everyone. It's man-to-man coverage. You can't account for all the guys who are going to be pressuring Sindelar, so he's got to get it out, but they didn't have that built-in hot route that you hear about all the time.
There's a flag down.
It's going to be intentional grounding potentially. I don't know that he broke the tackle box.
Yeah.
Intentional grounding. Offense number 2. Penalty results in a loss of down at the spot of the foul. 4th down.
So here it is. And it's got to be near an eligible wide receiver, and it doesn't look like it is. Tony Fields chasing him down, and there's no one even in the vicinity.
So the story in the first half was the Purdue defense. Arizona's defense, this young group, has been huge since halftime. Pretty packed in tight here. Arizona looking like they'll come after it. They do. Chopper gets off a good one. Shum Brown dangerous with the ball in his hands. Hesitates, accelerates, gets a block, but it's an illegal one. Shum Brown having some fun. And eventually goes down. Chopper tackling him, but there are flags down.
I think you're going to get 2 blocks in the back when this play is all said and done. First looked like Antonio Parks, number 4, and the last one might have been Jarvis McCall. Right here. Yeah, and clearly to the backside of Smiley.
Couldn't get that head in front.
And as good as Shun Brown is, you got to kind of let him go and at least give him an opportunity to make a guy miss. He's got the quicks. He's got the moves in the open field. That's been one discrepancy in tonight's game, is that the penalties Arizona has had, 5 on the day so far, to Purdue's, what, 2?
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 4 of the receiving team. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 55 of Purdue. That's number 55's first unsportsmanlike foul of the game.
That's the true freshman Derek Barnes from Covington, Kentucky.
All right, 9:48 left to go. Arizona down 3. We'll have the ball after this.
The Arizona player, and that's what draws the penalty. And they'll both be enforced.
Puts it at the 27-yard line. Arizona climbed back into this game. Back-to-back touchdowns to open the half. 3 straight 3-and-out since. Shun Brown fakes the handoff. Now cuts it against the grain and gets 5. It was 31-14 at halftime, and Arizona quickly closed that gap to get it to where it is now, but Purdue's defense has clamped down since then. What's Arizona got to do to get it going again like they began the second half?
Well, it all falls on the shoulders of Khalil Tate. They're trying to run to get to the outside. Now they've got a lot of open space to the right.
Bunch everybody into the short side. Run it with Wilson. 3rd and short.
And Rich Rodriguez likes these formations because it gives you so much space for your athletes, whether it's your running back or your tight or your quarterback, to work out to that area of the field. One-on-one with the defender puts a lot of pressure on defenses to make tackles in the open field.
Purdue's still getting lined up as Arizona snaps it, and Khalil Tate will be close. Marcus Bailey with the tackle. They're still getting lined up, but they had everybody wedged in there close to the ball, and it was crowded. He's short, 4th and inches.
Wow. Thought it looked like he had enough, but when Arizona's had success, first couple drives coming into this half, or coming out of the half, it's really been the tempo. They play with a lot of fast tempo and put pressure on the Purdue defense. Now in this case, again, you got to put the ball in Khalil Tate's hands.
One of the best 4th down offenses in the country. That box is loaded up.
He almost got the Purdue defensive line to jump.
Toronto wants a timeout, and he'll take it. With 8:08 left to go.
I mean, here's the deal. It's a numbers game when you run with your quarterback. So if they run some sort of quarterback boss, which would be on the strong side with your running back leading you, going to that side, or if it's even to the weak side, either way, you've got to account for the quarterback with an additional defender, meaning everyone else is just playing man coverage with no safety help.
Well, we welcome you inside here. It's been a fun Foster Farms Bowl. Looked like Purdue may blow this thing out in the second quarter, but Arizona comes back into it in the 3rd quarter, and things have settled in here in the 4th.
Yeah, and it's going to come down to which team can really make a play here in the clutch. And like I said before, if you're Arizona, you're putting the ball in Khalil Tate's hands, but it looks like they're going to elect to punt. They feel like there's still enough time in this ball game where they don't have to give up the field possession. The only problem is they haven't necessarily been great at punting.
No, not at all. The efforts tonight have included a 9-yarder. 9 yards. Jake Gladding gets off a line drive, and Anthrop Quick trigger, fair catch at the 28-yard line. College football bowl action continues tomorrow on FS1. Pac-12 and Big Ten meet up again. One of the 4 matchups between the conferences this bowl season. Washington State and Michigan State. And the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl. Cougars and Spartans at 8:30 Eastern, only on FS1.
I don't know if you saw the press conference with Mike Leach. Those are always entertaining. Apparently there's a meme now of him cooling off his hot coffee.
Oh.
I guess he was blowing on it, cooling on it for a while. But it's all of a sudden been, it's gone viral.
He has like a method for doing it?
I don't know. He just spent a lot of time trying to cool off the coffee, and it must have been really hot. I don't know.
Markel Jones, tough running for 7. I always hate blowing the coffee off when you have glasses on. Fogs them up. Man, I should have worn contacts. You know?
No, I don't. Okay. I don't have that problem. Mike Pereira wears glasses. Mike, do you have that issue?
It's an automatic fog issue. It's like fogged up so quick, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You can't see for a full 5 seconds after that.
Yeah. Regret it every time.
It could really become a liability then.
Yeah. 7.5 to go. Second down, 3. Sindelar, careful now. The mouth guard back. Another handoff to Jones. Tony Fields can't get him. And the second man can. It's Troy Young, another freshman, out of the secondary, making it 3rd down and a yard.
Troy Young's got a lot more playing time in the second half of Arizona. A couple times he's actually lined up outside as a cornerback. The future is bright for this Arizona defense with all the youth they've got playing right now. We need these guys to step up in a big way here on 3rd and short.
Purdue's had some troubles in short yardage situations tonight. Some big plays for the Arizona defense. Right up the gut they go, and no breathing room for Markel Jones. So 4th down again.
And this has been the struggle that I've seen with Markel Jones when he runs. They're going to pull the left guard around, and Markel Jones just isn't patient enough to allow the blocking to set himself up. See how he presses the hole? If he waits a second more, he can jump cut, get to the outside, follow his puller in Matt McCann, and maybe there's more there. Maybe they get the 1st down.
They thought about it, but they'll send the punt team out, similar to Arizona's previous possession. Thinking about going for it on 4th and short, choosing otherwise. Purdue's known to fake it, by the way. 4 times this season they have. And the play clock runs out.
Delay a game on the offense. 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
You know, I got to tell you, Joe, the reason that they got the delay game was because they delayed their substitution of the kicking team in. And when the kicking team runs in, you saw the center judge get over and hold the snap. And even though the play clock ran out shortly after that, late substitution, it's all on the offense at that point.
4th and 6, and Chopper, it's a skyscraper. Sean Brown. Fair catch at the 33. 5:47 to go. Khalil Tate and the Arizona offense down 3 with the football. By Foster Farms, the new comfort food. 31-28. Looked like this could be a shootout. All the points coming in the first 39 minutes of the game, but nothing since. 5:47 to go in a 3-point game. Khalil Tate off play action on 1st down. He gets flushed out of the pocket. He's got room to run. He does, and has 8.
Khalil Tate at one point of this season was a Heisman candidate. For 2018, this is when you start to build your case. Not just what he already did by bursting on the scene earlier this year, but it's this sort of game that can kind of catapult him into the race early on next season.
You're upset about something clock related. Taylor into the arms of Marcus Bailey, finishing forward for what looks like it'll be enough for a 1st. And for an Arizona team that started the season 6-2, that 4-0 October, but faded in November, losing 3 of 4 to finish, then come up with a way to win this game. A game they trailed 31-14. What a great way to springboard into the future, which will be led by this man.
just get the sense he's going to make a play at some point.
Purdue brings pressure. Marcus Bailey stopping J.J. Taylor on a gain of 3. 2nd and 7 inside 5 minutes. They say led by this man, this very young man, Khalil Tate, just turned 19 years old. Trying to lead the comeback for the Wildcats. 1 year removed from 3 and 9, and 7 and 5. Drive it here. Zips one sideline, a strike for a first down. Sean Poindexter.
Not many quarterbacks can make this sort of throw. He's rolling out to his right, but it's fitting it in the window with this much zip. That thing had a vapor trail on it. I mean, look at that thing.
Low throw, dug out of there by Brown. Stays on his feet to the outside. Shows that speed. Bursting down the sideline for an Arizona first down.
And that's what makes Sean Brown so dangerous. He gets up to top speed in a hurry. So if you don't stop him before he gets started, he's going to hurt you. This is where they get in this, what they call an ace offset. They got both tight ends in. They'll run, but they've got play action pass off of this to either Wolma or Nunley.
Taylor spinning in a phone booth, collapsing in the backfield. Easy Chukwu and McCollum. A loss of 2, 2nd and 12. Inside 4 minutes now. Tate on the roll, now steps up. Open man in the end zone, Brown. Arizona takes the lead for the first time since the first quarter.
And it all starts with the protection. Off the play action fake, Tate's got enough time, he works the pocket, and Sean Brown is all open in the back of the end zone. And this is what happens when you kind of start to half roll to the right. It gets the defense to think you're only going to throw to that portion of the field. And instead, it's a little throwback to Sean Brown, the leading wide receiver for this Wildcat team.
Khalil Tate, 17 of 23, 5 touchdowns and more than 300 yards now. Arizona takes the lead for the first time since the first quarter. Back in 30 seconds. Heck of a finish coming.
They came out of nowhere, sir.
How many? It's the running back out of the backfield that if you play it now, it puts the quarterback in a bind. Because he wants to play J.J. Taylor, and he thinks he's got help from the post safety, but the tight end already took Mosley away from the play, which allowed Sean Brown to be wide open.
So now it's on Elijah Sindelar's shoulders, and a Purdue offense that had its way for much of the first half, scoring all 31 of its points, has lost its way in the second.
It's been a number of issues that I think with this offense, but things that stand out to me, you look at the interception, and ended up getting turned into 7 points. Mahungu with the drop or deflection in that case. He had a couple other drops as well that could have been big plays for this offense. Anthony Mahungu has been a big part of the passing game the last 3 weeks with Elijah Sindelar. He's got to step up now when they need him to most.
We got soft coverage on him to the bottom of the screen. Knox motions out. Sindelar looks to the opening created by the motion man and completes it to open the drive with a gain of 7 or 8. Gregory Phillips yet another reception. 13 is the new Purdue Bowl record.
Almost halfway to his season total coming into the game.
30 all year. 13 tonight. 256 and counting. Second and short against pressure. He got rid of it. It's Phillips again. It's a first down to the 41.
Very similar concept. And what they're coaching Elijah Sindelar to do is pre-snap read the coverage. Right now they're playing more of a zone coverage to that side of the field. So it's Phillips able to find the soft spot in the zone.
Sindelar steps up, zips one into coverage, and it's broken up by Jace Whitaker with the defense on Mahungu. Second down.
They've gone to this a number of times, and Jace Whitaker has stepped up every time. In this case, the ball needs to be out a little bit sooner. Jace Whitaker has a beat on it. You can see him break on the football to get a hand in. At some point, you'd almost just rather have him go vertical. Keep running him towards that post safety where Whitaker has help. Instead, just throw it up. Let Mahungu make a play.
And Mahungu's 6'3". Not a lot of size in that Arizona defensive backfield. Underneath, broken up by Dane Cruikshank. Throw for Bryson Hopkins, the tight end, but Cruikshank sticks his arm in and makes it 3rd and 10.
And this is really where Elijah Sindelar's got to find a matchup that he likes. Jackson Anthrop's been the leading wide receiver for this team. He's in the slot. Phillips has been huge for Purdue so far tonight.
He's to the top of the screen. Mahungu not even in the game on this 3rd and 10. Arizona drops 7 into coverage. They're still able to flush him. He checks it down. Knox slips a tackle and gets a 1st down. DJ Knox, one of the biggest plays of the night for the Boilermakers. Breaking a tackle and running for 22.
Well, he wanted Gregory Phillips, who's going to hook up in that hole, but once Elijah Sindelar has to move, he has to go to his outlet in DJ Knox, and Knox has the ability in open space to break a tackle and get more.
1st down at the 38-yard line. Pressure coming. Sindelar retreats, throws, incomplete. Off of Trevor Wood's hands. The defensive end had dropped into coverage, and the converted tight end didn't feel anything like one there.
Arizona brings a pressure, and it's going to be Wood who drops back out. Sindelar was waiting for the tight end to get across. He never saw the dropper. This could have been a disaster for Purdue. For Arizona, would think that Wood, as long as he played tight end, would be able to catch that.
Maybe that's why he's a defensive end now. 2nd and 10. It's snapped by Sindelar. He picks it up off of bounds and completes it to Mahungu. That's as remarkable of a 1-yard completion as you'll ever see.
And this could have been another disaster for Purdue. You know, at times this season, I've seen Kirk Barron snap the football with a little bit of zip, maybe too hard or too much, but he's usually pretty accurate with it.
3rd down, 10. Arizona bringing pressure again. This time it's picked up into 1-on-1. Mahungu makes the catch and fights in for the Purdue touchdown.
Absolutely unbelievable. And we talked about it at the beginning of the drive. Someone had to step up and make a play. It's been Anthony Mahungu at the end of the season for Purdue. And once again, he comes up clutch for the Boilermakers.
The go-ahead touchdown with 1:44 to go, snapping 21 in a row for Arizona. The Boilermakers back in front.
And this is the risk you take. They bring pressure up front, so they're 1-on-1 on the outside. And Elijah Sindelar has the wherewithal to buy time, fade back, and put the football up with enough air that allows Mahungu to make a play on the football. And you're talking about 6'3", working on 5'10". He's got the advantage, and he utilizes it for the touchdown.
And the senior out of Paris, France, who started playing football when he was 13 after he first read about football in a comic book, and then fell in love with the game watching the Super Bowl, Bears and Colts, late at night one night. Ordered a copy of Madden, started reading all he could about football, quickly developed the dream of playing college football and somehow found a route to do that out of Paris, France. Perhaps the crowning achievement of his career here in his final collegiate game. The go-ahead touchdown with 1:44 left. Still, though, 1:44 left for Khalil Tate and the Arizona offense with 2 timeouts.
This is how legends are made in this sort of scenario. Under 2 minutes, the fourth quarter where the game's on the line, and you have to drive your team down and try to find a way to get a win.
High kick. Tyrell Johnson, another senior, trying to cap his career with a big moment. Hits the sideline and explodes across the 30. Well, Tate has not had a huge night running the football, but through the air, very efficient, very productive. Those 5 touchdowns, a Foster Farms Bowl record. And another drive to try and add to those totals here.
I would imagine that in this scenario, 1:39 left, 2 timeouts, he's going to find his way running around, creating to buy more time to allow his wide receivers and tight ends to get open.
Number 3 rushing offense in the country, limited to 128. But 302 through the air. And an opportunity here with 1:39 left to play for the 19-year-old sophomore Khalil Tate. Starts the drive with a play-action pass. Sets his feet, looks against the grain, and throws it out of bounds. 2nd down.
He hesitated. Can't hesitate, especially at this point in the game. You got to pull the trigger. He had Shun Brown on the sideline open, but he waited a little bit too long and allowed the coverage to sink underneath of him and take away the easy throw to the sideline.
Well protected here with the coverage downfield tight. Running out of time and again throws it away. 3rd and 10.
Once again, he had Shun Brown. He was actually standing right over the ball in front of him. The coverage had dropped back underneath, and I'm not sure if Khalil Tate could see over the rush and over the offensive line, but he could have had an easy completion. Instead, they find themselves in 3rd and 10. Now, obviously, at this point in the game, you would imagine it's 4-down territory.
This is where defensive coordinators have nightmares with guys like Tate, that it can extend plays and make things happen even when there's nothing there. 3rd down and long. He tries to do just that. Lofts it into the arms of Jacob Thieneman for an interception. Brown had come open. Tate just missed it. And with 1:16 left, the Boilers take it.
Khalil Tate has been phenomenal all night until this point. It's going to be Thieneman. He's got eyes on Khalil Tate the entire way, playing the deep middle of the field safety. And as he moves outside the pocket, he does exactly what he's coached to do. Shadow the quarterback and make a play on the football. And this is just a poor throw by Khalil Tate. We haven't really seen him make a throw like that tonight. Maybe overthrew another deeper shot, but for the most part, he's been pretty accurate.
Well, he maybe was thinking Brown was going to keep running, and Brown throttled down. 1:16, a 1st down would seal it. Arizona can stop the clock twice.
Problem being is they're not going to have great field position or a lot of time.
Yeah, even if they do get it. Knox bounces off the line of scrimmage, and this could seal the deal. 1st down into Arizona territory. But then a flag flies afterwards.
And it looked like he was taunting it. And even though it was to his sideline, he's got to remember that there's a defender right there. And you just can't do that.
The ruling on the field is that the runner made the line to gain for a 1st down. After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, Purdue number 1. That'll be a 15-yard penalty. That's number 1's first unsportsmanlike foul of the game.
I mean, first off, a tremendous play by DJ Knox to be able to reverse field. And not only pick up the 1st down, but think about staying inbounds. At the end of the play, you can see clearly he was talking to the true freshman Troy Young, number 11. And that's what draws the unsportsmanlike conduct.
Out of the half, it'll be 30 seconds in length.
So they use the timeout now with the clock started as soon as the ball is spotted. 1:07, and they can only stop it once.
If you're Purdue, you got to feel pretty good about what you've been able to accomplish this season. More than double their win total from a year ago. Jeff Brohm's first year as head coach. It's an incredible job of getting his team to buy in and building the type of culture that's one of success. He joins Joe Tiller as the only other head coach at Purdue to take their team to a bowl game in his first year.
They're 3-5 at the end of October with back-to-back losses to Rutgers and Nebraska. And the chances of getting to a bowl game did not look good, but they win 3 of 4 to finish, just barely get to 6 wins. Their first bowl trip since 2012, and now can run out the clock to win that bowl game.
And he remains undefeated as a head coach in the postseason. Didn't lose at Western Kentucky. Nice start to his career at Purdue.
Sindelar takes a knee, and Arizona uses its final timeout. Elijah Sindelar, 33 of 53, 396 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't know if they anticipated throwing the football quite this much coming into the game, but I think this is where Jeff Brohm would like to see this Purdue offense get to. It was the downfield shots. Gregory Phillips, what a night the senior had. A career game for him. But Sindelar was spot on all game long. You can tell he felt confident with all the preparation he had leading up to the bowl game with the game plan, and when they needed to play Anthony Mahungu, the guy who Sindelar's really developed a connection with since he's taken over as the full-time starter, capitalized.
Foster Farms Bowl record for completions and in those yards with 396. Both these programs a lot to look forward to moving into next season. David Blau, as he told Bruce Feldman earlier, hopes to come back, compete with Sindelar for the job, but either way, Jeff Brohm's going to like his quarterback situation. Going to like the momentum of what they did in their first year. Arizona brings back a ton as well. They're going to be one of the hot names in the Pac-12 when you're talking preseason next year.
Well, Sam Darnold leads USC and Josh Rosen leaves UCLA. All of a sudden, that Pac-12 South looks like it's very wide open. With what Arizona has coming back, you'd have to think they'd be one of the favorites.
Just have to snap it one more time.
How much fun has this been, though?
Yeah, really good.
Tremendous venue. The Bay Area Bowl, the Foster Farms Bowl, it's been phenomenal. Everyone here's been fantastic to work with.
And so that'll do it. They douse Jeff Brohm, and they finish Jeff Brohm's first season as head coach with a win in the Foster Farms Bowl, 38-35 over Arizona. It was a game of runs. At one point, Purdue scored 21 straight. And then Arizona scored 21 straight to take its first lead since the first quarter in the closing minutes. With Elijah Sindelar to Anthony Mahungu with what proved to be the game-winning touchdown inside the 2-minute mark.